Alexandria Allen for a washer and dryer.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2043. Pelletier versus Allen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This young lady is a friend of yours.
A former friend, correct.
How friend?
I met her from another mutual friend that I had, and we just formed a relationship together, just a friendship.
Are you married?
I'm not, I'm single.
Any kids?
No.
And what about the defendant?
She does have 2 kids and she is married.
Currently?
Yes, currently married.
Are you also friendly with her husband?
Yeah, just friends. We were, yeah, before all this took place.
So that all of you were friends?
Yes, at one point, yes.
Case is relatively simple. Miss Allen's washer and dryer stopped working.
Correct.
You had done some odds and ends things for her in the past.
Yes, worked on her car and stuff.
And did you find, or did she find, the used washer and dryer?
She asked me for recommendations and she found it on the selling app for used items.
So you told her where she might look for it?
Correct.
And she found it on an app online?
Correct.
Okay.
No, actually...
Look at me.
Okay. He made the recommendation to me.
Did you go on the app yourself?
No, I did not.
So you never saw the washer and dryer?
Well,
is that what you're... Just a second. So what you're saying, I just want to be clear. So I said, if you didn't go on the site, then you never saw the washer and dryer.
May I speak now?
Either you did go on the site and see it, or I didn't go on the site. I didn't see it.
He sent the picture of them to me, just a screenshot. That's all I got.
Okay. How old are you?
32.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
Did the screenshot show you where they came from?
I have a photo of them, and it doesn't say anything.
So is what you're telling me you didn't know where they came from?
Well, there is a name of the site. Would you like to know that?
I want to know if you knew it.
Yes, I know.
All right. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. You knew the site where the photo came from. So let's say you are correct, and I don't know. You said you needed a washer and dryer. You say he found the washer and dryer on a site, sent a photo to you and said, is this what you're looking for?
Correct.
Right? And on that screenshot was the site.
Right.
So you had at least access to the same site that he did.
That's correct.
And did the site give you the name of the person or persons to contact with regard to the washer dryer?
There was no one's name, just a phone number.
Did you call a phone number?
I didn't call them.
Who called them?
Mr. Pelletier.
Now, Mr. Pelletier didn't call them unless you said they look fine.
Well, I did say they looked fine.
Well, what else did you say?
Based on the picture, they looked...
Just a second. Just answer my question.
Okay.
Because what happened here is really relatively simple. And I don't know whether you're a simple person, but it's relatively simple. You had a friend. You told him I needed a washer and dryer. Mine broke down. He said, this is a great site. According to you, I'll look up, and he looked up the washer and dryer, and you did nothing. You, who needed the washer and dryer, you must work very hard. How many jobs do you have?
I have a couple of jobs. My children are a big job for one, and 2, I am a full-time university student, so I am busy.
So you should be able to get a washer and dryer by yourself. You farmed that job out to him.
I did because he volunteered to help.
Doesn't matter. He didn't volunteer to help unless you told him I need help. I mean, is what it is. Are you using him? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't.
I'm not sure. What do you do for him?
I watched his cats. When he went out on a vacation with his grandmother, and I took care of his cats free of charge because I didn't expect him to be gone that long either. It was over a week, and I had to buy the cats food.
So, just a second. So you watched his cats?
Yes.
And is what you believe that him taking care of getting this washing machine payment for taking care of the cats?
Well, not just that. There's other things that happened while he was installing the washer and dryer.
I don't care about things that... What I'm asking you is I'm trying to figure out what kind of person says to a friend, I need a washer and dryer. He said, as a friend, I'll see if I can help you. You have time. You also go on the computer and figure it out. Being a full-time student is nice. That's what you chose. Somehow, you also support yourself and your 2 children. I don't even want to go into how that's done. However, you said, go get the washer and dryer. And he went, how long? How
It's
far?
50 miles from my house, an hour and 45 minutes.
Each way to pick up the washer and dryer that you authorized him to get. You said go get it. It was $1,800
Correct. And she
Correct.
offered $200 tip for the delivery of that.
for you.
Correct. And I have texts of
That's
that.
reasonable because you spent 3.5 hours in the car. Now, did they live on the first floor?
The third floor.
Third floor. Is it a walk up?
Yeah, it's stairway up to
Okay.
the third floor.
So somebody had to go up and take the old washer dryer out. So, Miss Allen, was that you or your husband?
Mr. Pelletier also removed them.
Yeah, you can move your mouth. It's okay if
Oh,
you move.
no,
It's okay if you move your mouth.
Alexandria smirks. Caption coming up.
I feel like I was being very kind because I didn't decide to sue him for his cat or the damages he did to the cows.
I'm telling
the
you,
cats.
I don't know what your excuse is.
I feel like he.
I don't care what you feel like. I don't care what you feel like.
And later today,
When we went to transfer the title over together at the DMV, I had to pay off whatever tolls that I had. So between that time and the time where he ended up taking the car back, I don't really know how there was $600 worth of tolls.
I don't know either, but that's what I'm going to find out.
A woman shrugs. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Hunter and Alexandria.
Hunter Pelletier claims his former friend, Alexandria Allen, is responsible for the cost of a washer and dryer.
The plaintiff walked up the 3 flights of steps, carried each of the washer and dryers downstairs, took the washer and dryers from downstairs up the 3 flights, got them installed, and you didn't like them. They were a different color.
And they're busted up. They don't even work properly.
Okay. Miss Allen, when did this happen? In what month?
January 7th of 2022.
You have receipts for different washers and dryers that you purchased since January of 2022?
I do not have the receipts, no.
That means that you didn't purchase them.
Well, I never paid him for them.
No. That means that you never purchased new ones. That means that you're still using the ones he bought.
Correct.
Right.
Not work well.
Just you bought used washer and dryer. You've been using them January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 8 months, and you're still using them. And you neither paid for them, nor did you pay him for delivery. And I don't know what your excuse is.
I feel like
I don't care what you feel like. I don't care what you feel like. You made a contract with him to go and pick up washers and dryers, disconnect yours, take them out of your house, install these, lay out the money to pay for these, use them for 8 months, and not
I
pay them
feel
because
like
you weren't happy with them.
I feel like I was being very kind because I didn't decide to sue him for his cat or the damages he did to the cows.
I'm telling
the
you,
cats did to
I'm
the
telling you,
cows.
you should stay in school. How much did you pay for the washer and dryer?
$1,800, and I took the money out of the bank. She had asked me because her ATM has a low limit, so I went into the branch of my own bank.
That's what you're suing for $1,800.
Yeah, I wanted to get the $200 if possible, but at this point, I just want the money for the machines.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. $1,800.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Alexandria.
They damaged the walls of my apartment. They banged it up.
She saw right through everything, the damages, she said.
The machines were overpriced.
None of that happened from me. I'm not a professional installer.
I don't think he cared because it wasn't his money.
At the time, they were less than 6 months old from original purchase date, so they were still worth the money that they were asking.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to be friends anymore.
I don't need friends like that, no.
Sarah and Judy.
So this case touched a little upon agency, like an agent-principal relationship, where here the plaintiff was actively acting as her agent by going and picking up these washing machines for her. They had had communications beforehand about this is what they look like, this is what they cost, I'll do it for you for $200. Is this what you want to do? She says yes. You don't get to just then back out of it because you don't like the color. You knew what they looked like. You knew they were used. There was no bait and switch. I was almost waiting for
bait and
for an
switch.
explanation, for a bait and switch, for he put the nice ones in his house and then gave me not so nice ones. But there was nothing. There was very rarely do we see no excuse for.
And she's using them.
Yeah, still for
And they're all
almost a
banged
year.
up. They were all banged up. Well, hey, that's what happens when you buy something that's used. When you buy something over the internet, which is really what you did, She could have just as easily said to him, before you load them in the truck, please take pictures of them so that I see them.
Yes,
You know,
she could have.
She could have. Did nothing.
That's
He
not his
also-
fault.
But it's not his fault.
Yeah.
Also allowed him to take the other stuff down, put the other stuff up, and then say, well, they were banged up. But
$200 to move 4 heavy
machines.
is a low price as far as I'm concerned.
Not a friend anymore.
Yeah.
Case number 2017, Alvarez versus Coover. All parties please step forward.
Avery Alvarez is suing his former friend, Brianna Coover, for toll charges.
Mr. Alvarez, this is not a very difficult case. It's a question of dates. You bought a new car.
Yes, ma'am.
You knew the defendant somehow through her boyfriend or...
He's my cousin.
Okay, so you purchased a new car. You had an older car that you were still paying off. And Miss Culver needed a car, and you made an arrangement with her where she would take over the monthly payments on your old car, so that you would just be paying your new car, and when she finished making the payments on the car would be hers.
That's correct.
You did, in fact, conclude that agreement, and Miss Coover did, in fact, pay off the car.
Yes, ma'am.
She paid off the car. However, she did not register the car in her name.
That's correct.
And you had your plates on the car, and it is your claim that while the car was in her possession, she racked up $600 and some odd in toll fees,
Yes, Your Honor.
which is what you're suing for.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Culver said that didn't happen. She had her own Easy Pass, toll pass, whatever it is. And there was no way that those tickets were incurred while she was in possession of the car. And additionally, she's got some very sad story. She paid off the car. She didn't register it for some reason. She didn't register it, which I don't have to get into. You took the car back because you were afraid that your plates were on the car, and you started to get these dunning notices for tickets. Then you had to give the car back because we had given her the title to the car when she finished paying off the car, despite the fact she hadn't registered it. And then you took the license plates back, which is a very smart thing to do, because then she couldn't use them to get through the tolls. And because you took the plates off and she didn't register it and get new plates, it was towed from her parking space at a condo, taken to a lot, where she didn't have enough money to get the car out, and the car was auctioned off, and now she has no car. And you have $600 worth of tickets in your name.
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
Is that it?
That is a version of the story, yes.
Well, I will let you tell me a different version.
Everything is true. Thus
Okay.
far, we did have the agreement where he wanted a new car, I needed a car.
Yeah, I got that. I just want to know what I said that was incorrect. I just made it shorter.
Just to clarify, when we went to transfer the title over together at the DMV, I had to pay off whatever tolls that I had before they're able to transfer the title over. So that was done. So between that time and the time where he ended up taking the car back, I don't really know how there was $600 worth of tolls.
I don't know either. That's what I'm going to find out. But is there any part of the story that I just told that was inaccurate?
Brianna hesitates. Caption coming up.
He transferred over the car to you. You had possession of the car. He didn't.
Correct.
Other than you who drove the car. Come on, that's a question. And other than you who drove the car.
Nobody.
No. Who drove your car?
Judy glares at Brianna. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Avery and Brianna.
Avery Alvarez claims his former friend, Brianna Coover, owes for toll charges. Brianna says she already paid for the toll charges.
He says that you had possession of the car. He got notification that there were tickets. You say that you didn't go through tolls. He said, I didn't have possession of the car. Is there anything that is incorrect about that? So it's just a question of dates. It's not a difficult case. It's a question of dates.
Correct.
Okay, so give me the date that you made this arrangement to pay off the car.
I don't know the exact date.
What?
Took over the car payments starting July 2019.
And when was it paid off?
May 16th, 2021.
When it was paid off, did you sign the title over to her and the
We had
lien
been
holder did?
going back and forth at that time. I was trying to get her to come over to where I live so we could go to get the car transferred. We ultimately settled on a date, and then the DMV over there said that she had to have a sheriff verify the VIN in the odometer before we could transfer it over. I guess it's a rule in the county. So at that moment, then yes, we signed it over to her so she could do it at her local DMV.
And that was on what date?
That was July 9th.
Now, between July of 2018 and July of 2021, did you ever drive that car?
No, ma'am.
When did you initially take the car back from her?
I took the car back September 11th of 2021.
And how long did you have the car when you took it back because of these tickets?
I texted her on September 15th and told her that she could go pick the car up because I had found out that I
Couldn't do that.
Exactly.
You have self-help for that.
Correct.
Okay, so you had the car between September 11th and September 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than that period of time, did you ever drive the car from July 18th until the present time?
No, ma'am.
So if there were any tickets that were accrued, it was either by the defendant or somebody who drove the car with defendant's permission.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the dates of the tickets.
Avrian flips through a pile of documents.
Ms. Coover, you don't question the fact that between July 2018 and today's date, with the exception of between September 11th and the 15th of 2021, he did not have possession of the car.
Correct. The only reason that when we transferred the title over, we had an agreement.
Just a second. That's all I asked you. This is not a conversation. I just want to know who got the tickets. Whoever got the tickets is responsible for them. So he only had the car, so if there are any tickets there that were between September 11th and September 15th in 2021, they belong to him. Any other tickets from 2018 July until infinity are yours.
Brianna nods. Kevin hands Avrian's documents to Judy, who reviews them.
Well, we have invoice date is 7/28/21. That would be you. June 30th, 2021, 7/1/2021, 7/2/2021, again 7/2, 7/3, 7/6, 7/6, 7/7, 7/8, 7/8, 7/22, and 7/28 of 2021. Those are all you.
Correct.
August 28th, 2021. That would be you.
Yes.
3, 3, 6, 9, 19, 28 of 2021. August. That all would be you.
Yes. I never argued that that wasn't me. I'm just, from the moment that we officially transferred the title over, we were not able to transfer the title over until I paid.
Oh, just show. You paid these?
And we were together.
Now, just a second. Show me that you paid them.
I have this receipt.
Just show me that you paid them. That's it.
Brianna hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
And that would have been what was due at the time when we transferred the title over.
I'm just going by the dates of the tickets, madam. I don't care how the government screws up. That's not my problem. Okay. Show me your payment. May I see it, please?
Judy reviews Brianna's phone.
It should say the date there and the cost of those tolls on the day.
This is your SunPass. You replenished your SunPass
That's a payment to SunPass.
for $154.
And that's what it was on the day that we transferred the title over. So my thing is, from the day that we transferred the title over to the day that he came to my parents' house and took the car, there was no way that I racked up $600 in tolls.
I don't know whether you did or didn't. Then take that up with Department of Motor Vehicles. That's what they say you racked up between that period of time. He didn't have possession of the car. You had possession of the car from the time he transferred over the car to you. You had possession of the car. He didn't.
Correct.
Well, other than you who drove the car. Come on, that's a question. And other than you who drove the car.
Nobody.
No. He never drove your car.
No.
Who drove your car?
I did.
Who else?
Nobody.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $654. We're finished here, thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Avrian, then Brianna.
Quick and simple case. She did what she needed to do.
I can't really say I'm super surprised, I guess.
Just asking for payment on the tolls, and I wasn't getting any responses.
I don't know how in literally 3 months I didn't rack up $600 in tolls.
It is what it is.
He was okay with me continuing to use his
Take my license plate with me.
license plate until one day he wasn't, and then he wanted all that money.
Judy and Sarah.
So, what would be your takeaway from that?
I think as a layperson, my takeaway would be if you're going to sell a car, especially to someone you don't know well, it's not a family member, it's, you know, either a stranger or acquaintance, take your own plates off the car. Get a receipt, bring it to DMV, because your name, your address, your phone number will be tied to tickets, SunPass charges, and even maybe an accident. You just don't want your name associated with the vehicle anymore once you relinquish your ownership of it. So
That's
take
the
your plates.
takeaway. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Parents, Davery and Nathan Celestine, for the repair costs of an 18-wheeler truck.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge.
How are you?
Case number 2032, Shaw versus Celestine.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Shaw, these are your parents, is that right?
Yes, they are.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Just the very broad framework of this case. You're suing your parents for money that you put into a truck that belongs to them.
Correct.
And they are counterclaiming for money that they say you owe them for a balance of a dog they purchased for you. The truck that you fixed belonged to your parents.
Yes, the agreement was...
No,
it
the
belonged
truck
to
that
me,
you
yes.
fixed belonged to your parents. And
Correct.
what I gather is that you would come into some money. Is not an
Oh,
answer.
yes, ma'am.
And when did you come into that money?
I never came into any money from them after I fixed
Not
it.
from them. I didn't say from them that you came into some money.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh is not an answer.
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am. I came into some
So I
in
want
October.
you to, in October, you were not employed.
I was employed.
By whom?
Trucking.
Is that their company?
No, I was working with them and their brother.
So you were working with the family?
Yes.
Okay. That was in October.
Yes,
October of 2021. Uh-huh is not an
I
answer.
mean, yes,
is an
ma'am. I'm
answer.
sorry.
And how much did you come into?
About $10,000 for the month of September and October.
And then your father said to you, I assume, you should take some of that money and buy a 16-wheeler truck so that you...
No, ma'am.
Well, how did that happen, sir, that you
So-
got possession of your parents' truck?
So it...
Did you try to buy a truck on your own?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay,
And
in
that
what
deal
month?
failed.
Just a second. In what month did you try to buy a truck for yourself?
January.
January of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And tried to buy a truck so that you could have your own truck for long hauling and business.
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to a dealer and you found the truck that you liked, but you didn't qualify for financing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how much is a new truck?
That truck, it wasn't new. It was a 2015, and they priced it at $60,000.
60.
Yes, ma'am.
And you told your parents about that?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
there was a discussion that they had an older truck that wasn't running.
It needed minor work.
It
That
needed-
was told to me.
Okay, so they said to you it needs minor work. Was it running?
It was running, but the diamond seal was cracked, so eventually the truck was just going to break down completely.
Okay, so you took that truck with the understanding that you were going to repair the truck, and then what?
To make money. But one...
So you would repair the truck and then use it,
Yes, ma'am.
and you would keep most of the profits from using that truck. I mean, I'm trying to understand what the agreement was.
My dad, Nathan, told me that the truck was only going to be worth $4,000 to fix, which was a diamond seal. It needs some bushings. It needs something for the exhaust pipe. And I was like, okay. But when the dude kept calling me for the truck, and he was like, okay, this needs to be done. this
But
needs
you
to be
took the
done.
truck into a mechanic,
Yes, ma'am.
and did they give you an estimate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before or after they did the work?
They gave me one before, but I don't have that estimate, but I have the one for after.
You mean after they completed the work, they sent you a bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's not an estimate. An estimate, sir, is when you go in and say, here is a truck. I want you to give me an estimate of what it is to have it fixed. And they give you an estimate, and then you determine whether or not you want them to do any or all of that work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would never bring a truck into any mechanic or to any dealership
Well, when
mechanic and say, fix it.
When they was calling me, telling me additional problems that was wrong, I would call them, which I have my phone records that show that I was also calling them once the dealership called me to fix the truck.
Well,
Because some
just a
stuff on the
second.
truck wasn't able, like it needed a new gear, it needed new transmission was messed up on the truck,
Just
which
a
I
second. All
called.
I want is what you're telling me that your father told you to go ahead and fix those things each time you
Yes.
got a call?
Yes.
Okay, so you would call call him, and your father would not say to you, well, how much is that to fix?
Well, yeah, he was, but I had already had a settled amount that I told him that I was willing to spend, which was $10,000.
Well, did you spend $10,000?
The truck was actually over $10,000.
I understand to fix it, but you actually
they did
spent
have $10,000.
You actually spent the $10,000.
$10,900 to be
Okay.
exact.
To fix the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the truck was $13,000 to fix.
Yes, ma'am.
So you paid the additional $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the truck is running.
Yes, ma'am. It's running. It was running before, yeah.
But it's running now better because
ma'am.
there are.
Yes, ma'am.
Because just a second, I can only hear from one of you. He said the truck is in use. You said no.
It's not used, or is the truck?
No, yeah, and I misunderstood what you said. I thought you was talking about the repair. You saying is the truck operable now? Yes, it's operable, but it's not on the road.
It's not on the road? Who
Yes,
cares
ma'am.
if it's not on the road?
Oh, yes.
The idea was he was supposed to fix the truck and supposed to be able to use the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he able to use the truck?
Yes, he's able to use the truck.
Okay, great. When was the last time he tried to use the truck?
He never tried to use the truck after it was fixed. He said that he no longer wanted to be a part of the deal, to give him his money back.
Okay.
I have something. Now, when the truck originally got fixed in February, my dad came into town multiple times. It was one more piece that needed to be fixed, which was the ABS module, which if you get pulled over, they're going to stop you and shut you down completely.
I don't know.
And I told him, hey, we need to get that fixed. He came into town 3 times, and I asked him, hey, is you going to take the truck to the shop? Hey, is you going to take the truck to the shop? He said no. And he's like, well, it don't have any insurance. And it was just a whole bunch of excuses why he couldn't take the truck to the shop.
Whether he can or he can't, he says, and your mother says you're able to use the truck.
But I don't have a CDL, so I'm not able to drive it.
Well, you didn't have that when you took it in anyway, to be fixed.
But I didn't take the truck over there. He drove the truck to the mechanic shop.
Whatever. I don't care who drove it there, but your agreement with him was you tried to buy a new truck. It was much too expensive. Your agreement with your parents was that you would take an older truck of theirs that needed a lot of work, and you took it into a mechanic, and the mechanic was going to fix the truck, make it operable, so that you would have an opportunity to use it and make money.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm asking you, now the truck is fixed to the tune of $13,000. When was the last time that you asked to use the truck that your parents said you can't?
Well, I asked him, can I have his dad take the truck to get the additional piece put on, and he told me no, just to wait till he come into town.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
After the agreement that your son was going to pay the money, fix the truck, was your agreement with him that he could use it at will?
I gave him a specific time.
I'd like to hear what the specific times
The specific time was...
Don't, let's make it up as we go.
No, ma'am. I'm thinking straight to you. I'm going to tell you just like it actually is.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Levi, Davery, and Nathan.
Levi Shaw claims his parents, Davery and Nathan Celestine, owe for the repairs of an 18-wheeler truck. Levi's parents are countersuing for the balance of an English bulldog.
Was the additional piece put on the truck that he's talking about?
No, ma'am, it didn't actually
Why?
need that addition. It was an ABS modulator, which on that particular model was a 1995 FLD Classic. On that particular model, you don't need that to reset the ABS light. All you need is a sensor that goes in the hub of the wheel.
What I'm asking you is, your son said that you needed this one part. This is your business.
Yes, ma'am.
How much is that one part?
This is a part that I never researched, so I can't tell you that, but according to him...
So perhaps, I didn't ask you anything. Perhaps you can tell me.
The part was $900.
That was returned back.
It was never returned because they wouldn't let me return it because it's dealing with wires. So when I asked them, can I return it, they said no. And I had a text where I text her and I said, hey, they will not let me return this piece.
Return what piece?
The ABS module. They will not let me return it because it's electrical, and they do not accept returns on electric pieces.
So is what you're telling me that you bought this piece for $900?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that it wasn't necessary. You didn't buy it from him.
No, but I don't know if it was necessary, but what the mechanic told me and what
You can't tell me what the mechanic told you.
Well, I'm just saying the mechanic...
No, you
said it
can't
needed.
tell me what the mechanic told you. Well, all I'm telling you, Mr. Shaw, is you had an agreement with your parents to fix a truck and then to be able to use it. And I want to know whether they have ever denied you the right, because that was the contract that you made. You never made a contract with them that you would take a truck to the mechanic and they would pay for the repairs. You never made that contract with them. You want me to say that that was your contract with them. They say the truck is operable now and that you can use it. When do you want to use it?
Well, if they willing to let me use it, then I want to use it as soon as possible.
Okay, and you can drive the truck.
No, I was going to hire a driver.
Okay, and the truck now is not on the road, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am, that's
Truck
right.
now,
That's right. That's right,
the
yeah.
truck is not on the road.
No, ma'am, it's
is
not.
what you said,
Yeah.
but operable.
Yes, it's not operable.
Okay, and after the agreement that your son was going to pay the money, fix the truck, and then be able to work at it so that he's getting some benefit from what he put into the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an
I wanted to ask...
I'm not looking at you.
Okay.
Did you have a discussion with him about how much of the time he would be able to utilize the truck, or was your agreement with him that he could use it at will?
I gave him a specific time. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear what the specific times
The specific time was...
let's make it up as we go.
No, ma'am. I'm thinking straight to you. I'm going to tell you just like it out to you. I gave him specifically, according to him, about 3 months when he probably needed it, to get himself together.
No, just a second. You mean he was going to spend $10,000 on fixing the truck and you were going to let him use it for 3 months?
Well,
put
as
your
long
hand
as
down.
he-
I'm
well,
not talking to you.
Well, as long as he needed it. I'm going to put it that way. As long as he needed the truck.
Okay, so now that's better.
Yes, ma'am.
So that he can use the truck whenever he needs it, and he's going to get a driver. I just want to know, because we're going to have to memorialize all this
Yes,
in an order. What do you want?
We had a driver. My brother was the driver.
I don't care whether your brother was the driver or not. That was not the agreement that your husband said he made with his son.
Yes, ma'am.
He says he made an agreement with him that if he paid to have it fixed, he could use the truck whenever he wanted to. That's what your father says.
No, that is not that
Okay,
is not
so
true.
when did you ask to use the truck?
So in January, when I was getting the truck fixed, they told me $4,000. But as the mechanic kept calling me, adding on stuff, I said, hey, I'm not about to pay all this money, and y'all telling me I could just use it. If I'm about to put all my money into it, I want the truck. And my mom was like, okay, you can do that, because in January, they didn't make any money.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is, what you said to your mother, I'm not going to put in all this money unless the truck belongs to me.
Correct.
Well, that's not unreasonable, Mr. Shaw. I can actually see that. You're spending $10,000 of your money, and you want to be able to use the truck. And you want it to be able to not have it on a whim of somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
How old is this truck?
This truck is exactly 22 years old.
How long have you owned it?
I've owned it since I was 23 years old.
Okay, so you've owned it since it was new.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make a living from it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Good. Do you have other trucks now?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How many others?
Just one other. I'm not no big scale company. I just got one other truck. Yes, ma'am.
Can I see the title to the truck, please?
To the truck we're talking about?
Yes.
I don't have that title with me.
Why not?
I was under the impression that I didn't need to bring it.
Okay. And according to you, the truck's not on the road now?
No, ma'am, it's not on the road.
Do you remember having a conversation with your son about, I'm not going to spend all this money unless the truck is mine?
Yes, ma'am, I do remember that
Do
conversation.
you remember where it took place?
He was driving and I was at home.
So it was over the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember what month that was?
January.
January of 2022.
Correct.
Tell me what you said to him and what he said to you.
I totally understand what you're saying. I said, let me talk to your daddy and we'll see what we could do, but...
Great. As a parent, that sounds perfectly reasonable. And did you speak to your husband?
Yes, I did.
Did the two of you own the truck?
He owns the truck. It's in his name, in Nathan's name.
So you said, okay, that sounds okay. Let me talk to your daddy. You have to talk to the owner of the truck, because
Correct.
now you're seeking to change the agreement. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after you spoke to your mother, did you have a conversation with your father about the ownership of the truck?
Yes, we did.
And tell me when that was and what was discussed.
It was in January as well, and when I told him that, he said he totally agreed with me that if I put in majority of the money, that I can have the truck.
Okay. I want to tell you, certain things sort of ring true to me. If I were a young person and spending all my money for a business, because this is the business that he was going to be in, he was going to hire a driver, he was going to take a certain amount of the profits, I could understand him saying to his parents, who now have a truck that they're not using because it's not on the road, I'm going to spend all my savings, it looks like, because the initial estimate was $4,000, but it kept going up and up and up and up and up. So if I'm going to spend all this, put your hand down, if I'm going to spend all this money, I'd like to own the truck. And in response to that, his mother said, and acknowledges that she said, it sounds right to me, I'm going to speak to your father. And according to you, you spoke to your father, and your father said, sounds okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you went ahead and spent the money.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Caption. Coming up.
Put your hand down. This
Yana,
is not
I don't
a.
understand.
This is not.
Yana.
$1,000
Yeah, I done made over $1 million
fix your
with the
truck.
truck.
That's ridiculous.
I want you to stop it.
Hey, man.
Okay.
How can you tell me
Now,
to stop
are
on
we
something I
going-
worked blood, sweat, and tears on? He finna take.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Levi, Devery, and Nathan.
Levi Shaw says his parents, Davery and Nathan Celestine, owe for the cost of repairs to an 18-wheeler truck. Levi's parents say he never used the truck, and it is still not fixed.
I'd like to see the bills for the truck.
Oh, I have it on my phone.
Well, what is that?
These was the bank statements because at first they was countersuing for insurance as well. So I was showing bank statements where I had sent them money. So
Yeah, I
that's
don't-
what these was
Yeah.
for. But I have it on my phone, but I don't have it in the statements.
Well, I need it.
Levi produces his phone, then hands it to Kevin.
Here you go.
Is that the one final invoice?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
And it also I have at the bottom where it says it needs the ABS module.
Judy examines the document on the phone.
Your Honor, can I see that as well?
Yes. Well, so the entire amount is $13,000.
$13,000 and some change.
And your father paid $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not the correct invoice.
What?
I
got
have
the original.
the original invoice.
Fine, I'll take a look
It's
at
the
yours.
invoice that was sent to me via, so by their email, which I can pull up their email as well.
And it shows that it's paid on the back.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the same thing as he showed me.
But it has our name on it.
Who cares?
The ones that he showed you, it changed since then.
But let me ask you a question.
Nah.
Unless I'm missing something,
No.
you're not questioning the fact that he paid $10,000 to fix the truck out of the $13,000 that the truck was. Are you questioning that?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
questioning
then I don't know what we're talking about.
that. Okay.
Let's go over this one more time. When your son said to you, if I'm going to spend all this money, I want to own the truck, and your wife had the same conversation with you, right? She said, I got a call from Levi. Levi said if he's going to spend all this money, he really wants the truck, and she actually thought it was okay. And what did you say, sir?
I said that I'm not going to sell you the truck.
Why?
I will let you use the
No,
truck.
when did you say that?
Because I have other children.
Oh, no, but
And-
your other children didn't put any money into the
No,
truck.
I know.
No,
what
just a
you're saying.
second. Your other children didn't put
I
any
know what
money
you're
into
saying,
the truck.
but there's like-
Hand down.
He didn't
Okay.
ask me to buy the truck.
Okay.
He asked her to use it.
Just a second.
He was gonna sell it to my uncle because when the repairs got done, they actually didn't have enough money because I had $8,000 saved up. They took $4,000 of my $8,000.
That you got paid back.
Yes, but they didn't have the money, so
That's
when
not
they
true.
you
That's
just
Mr.
you
Shaw,
bought
Mr.
$4,000.
Shaw, I don't expect you to talk to each other. I don't expect you to talk
Yes,
to him.
ma'am, I understand.
Very easy. I believe that you changed the contract with your son from a contract where he would pay for the repairs, which was supposed to be $4,000, and then you have the use of the truck, to the fact that he was going to spend $10,000, which was all of his money. Put your hand down. I'm not... This 22-year-old truck that you've had since it was new was going to be his. And I am going to craft an order to the Department of Motor Vehicles to reissue a title in the truck to him. Do you understand? He's going to take that order. He's going to get a new registration for the car and a new ownership, unless you want... Put your hand down. This is
Yana,
not
I don't
a...
understand
This is not...
Yana.
It's not...
I don't understand that.
Well,
I got other
just a
children.
second.
I
Do you
got
want me-
5 other
do you
kids.
want me?
man.
Do you want me to
And
say
he's
it's
spoiled,
slower?
Yana.
And I say, what about the $3,500 that we put into it?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
But it wasn't $4,500. It was $3,500.
35. I'm sorry if you didn't hear me well.
Man,
You are absolutely entitled to that.
dude.
I believe you are entitled to that. He put in 10. That's his truck.
I made, Yana, I worked all my life with this truck.
I don't care.
I worked all my...
I don't care. He's not going to
care,
spend his
Yana.
$10,000
I care. I
to
done made over $1 million
fix your
with the
truck.
truck.
That's ridiculous.
I want you to stop it.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Okay.
How can you tell me
Now,
to stop
are
on
we
something
going-
I worked blood, sweat, and tears on? He finna take.
I need a break.
That's the judgment. I'm not entertaining your counterclaim. That's the judgment of the
man.
court. You get title to the truck. You can retrieve it as soon as you change the registration of the truck. However, in order to do that, you have to give your parents the $3,500 animals that they put into the truck. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
Good.
what about
We're
this
done.
dog?
We're done.
We
This
paying
court is
for-
adjourned.
We're done.
We paying for this dog.
No,
It's
we're
over.
done.
It's over.
We paying for this dog and he's
It's
not
over.
giving us nothing.
Let me explain something to you.
It's
The reason, let me explain something to you. The reason that I'm not hearing your counterclaim is because the two of you were disrespectful and didn't listen to me. Oh, yes, you did. That's it. We're done.
All right. My actions of my response to what she was saying is what nothing been disrespectful towards her.
I'm very glad she ruled in my favor.
It was the initial, you know, the thought of giving up my hard-earned possessions.
It was because I did try to work it out before we came to court, and they was like, no, we're not going to pay you nothing.
I never would have thought in a million years who my parents, my parents were my butt. But that was just something you had to go through back then.
It saddens me. I'm in disbelief that my parents did that to me. I didn't think that they would do that.
But, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know his plans. I can't talk to him.
If you do business with family, make sure you get contracts.
You know, I sympathize with the plaintiff's position on this because modifications of contracts are supposed to be allowed when there's a change in circumstance. So it's not like he was attempting to change the contract every Friday or for no reason. He thought that it was going to be $4,000. It turned out to be $10,000 to fix the truck. And as such, he wanted the bargain for exchange. That's a lot more money than he initially intended. So that conversation makes sense to me, that conversation between his parents, that I know we had agreed to this, but now with this new information, this is what I'm comfortable with. Is that okay?
I think so. I think that is a common sense interpretation of what happened.
For a truck that cost $60,000 20 years ago, to put in $10,000 to it is not nothing. That's a big
Well, it
investment.
probably isn't worth more than that. And the condition that it was in before he had it repaired, their position was unreasonable because now they have a fixed truck
That their child paid
that
for.
the child paid for. And with the animus between them, it doesn't seem to me as if he's going to get any benefit from the bargain. So the modification of their original oral contract, which I think happens occasionally when circumstances change, as long as both parties agree. And I actually think that both the mother and the father said okay, and then something happened that I don't know about.
Don't want to know
And
about.
I don't want to know about it. But I think it's fair that he had possession of the truck since he paid the majority of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute? Go to judyjustice.tv. Their former friends, Marina and David Quadra, for a legal eviction and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy.
Have a seat, everybody.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2072, Burroughs versus Quadra.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. and Mrs. Quadra, you were living in a home, in a house?
Correct, a townhome.
That you didn't own. And for how long had you been renting that home?
We did not rent out the home.
How long, if you didn't own it, then you were renting it?
We rented it for 2 years, Your Honor.
It gets scarier if you have a fixed position in your head so that you're not listening to my questions. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did your lease start?
July 2020.
And when was it to terminate?
It was terminated August 1st, 2022.
And it was terminated by an eviction?
Correct.
And you were evicted because the landlord said that you sublet the apartment to these people and their family?
Correct.
And they were people who you knew, both in the military?
Just him.
What do you do?
I'm a federal employee.
And you?
I'm active duty now.
But you knew each other from work?
Correct.
Where did you move in August?
National City, Your Honor.
How far is that from your prior residence?
It's about 30 miles south, Your Honor.
Are you in a home that you own or that you rent?
We are still renting.
How much are you paying in rent?
$21.50 a month.
You have a signed lease?
We do.
When did that lease start?
August 1st, 2022.
And why did you choose to live in National City?
It is closer to where he is stationed.
It is also the...
Shh. Don't speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much closer?
To his job.
To his job.
It went from a 30-minute drive to a 15-minute drive.
Okay, so that's better.
Correct.
You were evicted. You were served a notice of eviction on what date?
They let us know a month before August. They gave us a 30-day notice.
Now, did the plaintiffs have any furniture in the home that you were evicted from?
Prior to us being evicted, yeah.
Yes, prior to your being evicted. And what furniture did they have?
2 dressers and a bunk bed.
Anything else?
That's as far as furniture.
And what furniture did you have in there prior to being evicted?
A full living room.
And when did you move that out? On what date?
The 30th
of July, 2 days before our moving date.
So you moved out all of your furniture?
Correct.
And how much were you paying in rent in the place from which you were evicted?
$25.95.
Oh, I didn't write that down. How much were you paying in the new place?
The place we are in now, $21.50.
So you're paying less rent?
Correct. It's substantially smaller.
And substantially closer to his place of employment?
Correct.
Good. Now, do you want to tell me your version of how they came to be living in your house?
We received a call one night. It was very late, 10 p.m. Robert was very upset, crying. He had nowhere to go.
He?
Correct. Robert had nowhere to go, and Kelly was asking for a divorce. He asked if he could crash on the couch. We have a toddler at home, so I asked him to sleep in our guest bedroom instead of the couch. He stayed that first original night, and the next day he needed to job hunt as he was jobless. We offered to watch his child. He looked for the job and he came home. He asked us if he could stay for a while in that guest bedroom until he got onto his feet with the job. He offered money to just help out with utilities. And
how much?
$1,000.
$1,000 a month?
No, just $1,000. And our words, when he asked, and we asked him, how long do you think it will take you to get on your feet? It was just a couple weeks.
Okay, so he was offering $1,000,
correct,
which was 40% of your rent, to stay for 2 weeks, to stay in your guest bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty decent. Did he give you the $1,000?
He did.
And he gave you the $1,000 on what date?
He gave us the $1,000 on May 29th.
And when did he start staying there?
He started staying with us May 21st.
Then what happened?
He stayed with us for about a week. Everything was okay. He job hunted. I helped with the child. Within this week, he...
Look at me.
I'm sorry. He confided in us that he wanted to work on his marriage with Kelly. He did not want the divorce. It was something that she had asked for. They wanted to work on it together and had asked if Kelly could come around to stay with him and the children and work on their marriage.
When he moved into the guest room, did he take the children? Did he have the children with him?
He did, but it was just on certain nights they were sharing.
And then he asked if Kelly could come as well.
Correct.
The wife. And what did you say? Why couldn't he go home?
He could not go home due to their relationship with her parents. Their parents.
Oh, she was living with her parents.
Correct.
And they were both living with her parents.
Correct.
So he said, I can't go home. We want to work on the marriage. Could we come and stay here with you?
Correct.
They have 2 kids?
They have 3.
They have 3 kids, and how many dogs?
4.
4 dogs. So far, you get 4 stars if you let her come.
I wish it would have worked that way.
No. You don't understand that that's where I'm at so far.
Yeah, of course.
So now, May 29th, he gives you the $1,000. She moves in when with the dogs?
So we had a long trip planned to Vegas. We let them know that after we had left, she could come stay while we were gone.
What month? June?
June, correct.
How long were you away?
We were away for 5 to 6 days.
Well, what was he going to do when she came there with the 4 dogs, 3 kids after 6 days? What was the plan?
This was never a plan of, here's a lease agreement, you are going to rent from us. It was just that I need somewhere to stay. Can they please come for this short period of time until we figure this out?
Great. Okay, now let me hear your version of the event. When you went to stay there with your children, you were having trouble with your wife.
It's incorrect.
Incorrect.
Caption coming up.
What I said was, because I believe her. I believe that you called her and said exactly what she said. She told me. I mean, I don't have to have Whitney read it back. I believe that that's what you said. So I don't want to hear baloney about school districts. You were having trouble with your wife.
And later today.
You can't have it both ways.
It's a complicated case.
It's not complicated. It's very simple. You didn't have a written contract. If you had an oral contract, that's one thing.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kelly, Robert, Marina, and David.
Kelly and Robert Burrows claim their former friends, Marina and David Quadro, owe for an illegal eviction. Marina and David are countersuing, saying Kelly and Robert caused them to be evicted.
So when you went to their house and you wanted to work on your marriage, you could have gone back to your in-laws.
Yes, that's correct.
You could have. Why didn't you?
The reason why we decided to split up was because we're trying to keep our kids in the same school district. So with having 4 dogs, that's impossible to keep in an HOA. So she decided to go with her parents. I decided to stay back to finish the school year with the kids, still being in May, so they can finish in the same school district. That's why I decided I needed a mailing address so that they could stay in the same school district.
So you mean this discussion that she just said to me about you having problems, marital problems with your wife, that never happened?
Irrelevant. It's just...
No, that's not what I said. What I said was, because I believe her, I believe that that's what happened. I believe that you called her and said exactly what she said. She told me. I mean, I don't have to have Whitney read it back. I believe that that's what you said. So I don't want to hear baloney about school districts. You were having trouble with your wife.
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
And you didn't tell her that.
We had been moved out of our old place of 6 years in El Cajon, and we were trying for 6 months to find a new place. So yes, it does put a lot of stress on a relationship, but we did not have any marital.
Mr. Burrows, you know what my strong suit is, and there's no question that the cameras just caught your face. My strong suit is being able to spot a lie from a mile away. And I'm telling you that there's no question that you called her late at night and said, I'm having trouble with my wife. She asked me for a divorce. Can I come and stay with you? There's no question that whether it was true or not, I don't know, because clearly you're a liar. So maybe it wasn't true, but that's what you told her.
Your Honor, may I speak?
You want me to call your parents?
Please do.
Would you like me to call your parents? I'm just asking you, would you like me to call your parents?
No.
Of course not. That's an easy thing for me to do.
Part of what was going on was that we lived in our home for 6 years, and the homeowners had moved back in, and so they asked us to leave, and we had been actively searching for a home. So yes, it did put a bit of a strain on our marriage, and I took my dogs with me so that I can keep my operating business at my parents' house, because I am a dog boarder, dog sitter, and I did not want to shut my business down. And during this time, tensions, little things happening at my parents' house. So I said, you need to go see if you can rent a room or find somebody that can help you in the meantime so we can actively keep searching for a place for our family. We tried 5 different homes and we didn't.
I don't care. What I said to your husband was he lied to me. Because there's no question that he called, and whether it was true or not, that he said to your friends, I need a place to go. Do you have a place that I could stay on the couch? There's no question he said that to her.
That is true. Yes, that is true.
Okay. Well, then I want you to introduce your husband to the truth.
Is it true?
It's something that he hasn't met, because that's not what he told me what happened.
Correct.
So that was a mistake of his. That was a mistake. And you know what happens when you lied to me once? Your case is dismissed. Because what you're suing for is being evicted, and you go, blah, 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 emotional distress. You lie to me once, your case is dismissed. Now, we're going to come over here. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is money owed for property damage.
Correct.
And for damages for eviction, because what happened was your landlord evicted you because she comes with her 4 dogs, 3 gerbils, 2 parakeets to your house, and the owner of your condo doesn't want her any more than the owner of their last condo.
Of course.
Didn't want them. Got to save your money, buy your own house, so you can have as many dogs and parakeets as you like. You moved into a place that's nicer?
Absolutely not.
Tell me what the papers said when your landlord notified you of the eviction. Do you have them?
We do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Yes, no problem.
Marina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
There was also in that piece of paper a $250 fine through our HOA from the whole commotion that he caused the day of asking them to leave.
Just a second, you were a month-to-month tenant.
Correct.
You didn't have a lease for 2 years. You were a month-to-month tenant.
We had a year lease, and then when the year was up, we moved month to month.
They didn't evict you.
No, they just gave us, they asked
Just a
us to
second.
leave.
Your lawsuit is for damages, punitive damages for an eviction. You weren't evicted.
Well, we were asked to leave if we...
No, they just decided not to renew your month-to-month lease.
Due to the...
I don't care what it was due to. Listen, if I owned a property and you let 3 kids, 4 dogs moved into my condo for 6 days, I wouldn't renew your lease on a month-to-month basis either. I don't care whether they were there for 2 days, 4 days, a week, or a month. You understand?
Understood.
Okay, so there was no eviction. So the punitive damages for that, forget it. Money owed for property damage. When they moved out, what did they damage? And how much did it cost you?
There was a hole in the molding from moving the dressers down our stairs. They bonked it, bringing it out angrily because they were mad that we asked them to leave. We have the letters from our landlord stating everything that they had to deduct from our deposit.
Just a second, a hole in the wall. And how much was the hole in the wall?
The molding was...
No, just look at the paper and tell me how much was the hole in the wall.
The painting was $180 and the molding repair was $200.
Yeah. Did you damage the molding when you were moving a dresser out of the house?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, not that you're aware of. You want to try the truth now? Was there a hole that you created moving a dresser out of the house.
When David and I were moving our dresser over the stairs, down the stairs.
Who's David?
The defendant.
So you were moving out the dresser with him? Careful, introducing you to the truth. Did you move the dresser with him?
I did help move the furniture.
The case is dismissed. The
I would think it was yes.
counterclaim likewise is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
David, then Kelly.
I take it as a win. The initial suit was them against us. Their suit got dismissed.
We lost a lot of things and a lot of wages. That was just us being good friends. We definitely learned our lesson. We will never help another crying husband on our doorstep claiming divorce again.
People that are offering to be nice to you in times of need don't charge you.
They kind of cried, oh, marriage and divorce the whole time, knowing that we're young and married is something we take seriously in our lives.
And we're still trying to build our lives back.
Judy and Sarah.
I should actually make a party to introduce all those people to Mr. Truth.
I agree. There's a lot of mismatch.
Stuff.
Doesn't make sense. If
Yeah.
you're going to stay with a friend for a few days, you don't bring a bunk bed and 2 dressers. I've stayed with friends for a couple days, long weekend. You bring a bag with some clothes.
Even with your kids.
Yeah, you don't bring furniture. You don't bring any of that. So there's a lot of discrepancies.
Things that didn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true.
Agreed.
Case 2041, Dion versus Everson. All parties, please step forward.
Caitlin Dion claims her former employer, Scott Everson, breached their contract to buy her baby shoe business.
All right, what looks to be a complicated case actually is merely just a contract case. Miss Dion, you had a side business of making baby shoes, and I assume that those are the baby shoes.
Yes, it was a full
The defendants had a children's clothing website, and they became familiar with your baby shoes, and they were interested in buying your business. You entered into a contract wherein I believe that they agreed to pay you $30,000 for the business. Is that correct?
That was the asking price. There was never a written contract signed.
That's incorrect.
Just a second. You entered into a deal for $30,000 and an employment contract without a written contract?
I have the written contract here, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah. I would say goodbye to you all if there wasn't a written contract.
There was a draft of a contract, the terms of which changed numerous times over the years.
You can't change a written contract. Was it a written contract that was signed by both parties?
No, it was
He
never
refused to sign it, even though he was the one that wrote it himself and emailed it to me himself.
Caption coming up.
You called him within the period that you were supposed to be working for him and said, this is too much for me, I can't do it. I read your complaint. Do you understand? That's a breach of your contract, if there ever was a contract.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Caitlin and Scott.
Caitlin Dion claims her former employer, Scott Everson, breached their contract to buy her baby shoe business.
Well, then there was never a meeting of the minds. May I see that? This is going to be a much easier case than I thought.
That's incorrect. I have
Just
audio.
a second. This is going to be a much easier case than I thought.
That's the latest draft of an agreement of which there were several drafts prior to that.
Listen to me, sir. It doesn't make any difference to me. She's suing you because you paid her pursuant, I assume, under this non-contract, according to you, $31,000.
In good
That
faith.
was both for a piece of her business and for her staying on for a period of, I don't know, 4 months, 6 months?
That was never agreed to.
Neither was the $30,000. Do you understand? You can't have it both ways,
It's a
Ms. Dion.
complicated case.
It's not complicated. It's very simple. You didn't have a written contract. If you had an oral contract, that's one thing.
I do have that, actually. I have audio that we can play right now telling him that he promises to pay me $30,000 regardless of how long I worked for him.
Just a second. The original deal that you had was for $30,000.
There was actually an original deal that was much more than the contract he
Ms.
took
Dion,
months
Ms. Dion,
change to
Ms.
sign.
Dion, there's no question that under the terms of what you both thought was reasonable, you agreed to accept $30,000 from him for the business, and you would stay with the business for a period of time, either 4 months or 6 months. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but that is totally reasonable because he wasn't in the baby shoes business. According to your complaint, you were going through some marital difficulty, you were going through other major problems, and you called him within the period that you were supposed to be working for him and said, this is too much for me, I can't do it. I read your complaint. Do you understand? That's a breach of your contract. If there ever was a contract, that was, listen to me carefully.
In the contract,
Listen,
it says that he would take away $400 per week that I did not work for him.
This is not, listen to me, Mr. Young, listen to me very carefully. This is an unsigned contract.
Why did you send it to me then?
Just a second. He gave you $31,000.
He did not. He gave me $5,000.
Just a second. He says he gave you over the period of time $30,000. Did you give up?
I have
just a second.
In the period of time that we've known Miss Dion and worked with her, I've given her $31,668.
I have proof that says
That was-
otherwise.
I'd like to see it.
Here are my hourly
No, not that.
Those are paycheck stubs, of which of the $31,000 she received,
That were not
$10,000
part of the business
were
purchase
paid.
price.
Listen.
No, you're right. That was pay
Listen,
stubs.
I have to explain something to you. There was no written contract and clearly no meeting of the minds based upon what you both told me today.
What was I
just a
supposed
second.
to do? I signed the contract and gave it back to him.
Then you should have done nothing. If he didn't sign it, you should have done nothing.
I was a single mother at the time. He
Mr.
did
Young,
not.
you have to understand. This is a court.
He had
This
all of
is
my
a court.
assets.
This is a court. It's not Dr. Phil. You had no written contract, and if you had no written contract, you had to have an oral contract.
I do.
No, then you had to have an oral contract, and that oral contract clearly did not reflect a meeting of the minds of both of you. If he didn't sign this contract, and whether it was for your business or for your employment, are you saying to me that you did not receive from him? I'm just curious, because he has the documentation to show me that you did not receive from him $31,000.
I have documentation. Sorry, I thought that was a question you asked.
That was a question that you did not receive from him. I don't care if it's a business or as a worker, that you did not receive from him during a period of time $31,000.
I did not. That's incorrect. I have my paychecks. I have the down payment that he made. I have the installments that he made.
Just a second.
All of which add up to $31,000.
Just a second. Add them up, and I asked you a question. How much was it? Your paychecks and the down payment he made on your business. How much was it? I want to know if it was he said it was $31,000.
He paid me $16,666 for my business. My paychecks do not matter. They were not a part of the business agreement.
Did you file your case in small
That is
claims?
not a part of my business.
Did you file your case in small claims court?
Yes. Working hourly was not a part of the contract.
Pay careful attention to me. If you filed your case in small claims court, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go back there. If you think you have I do not. I do not believe that there was a meeting of the minds when there's a contract unsigned for over $10,000. That's absolutely ludicrous. As long as I'm comfortable with the fact that you got paid during a period of time, $30,000, so that you worked and you got paid. The contract for the sale of the business, as far as I'm concerned, was never consummated. I'm going to let you go try to explain your position to a judge in either Superior Court, because I don't think small claims courts hear cases up to $10,000. I don't know where you're from. Where are you from?
It's actually $11,000.
Utah.
In Utah.
I'll go back to Utah. This case is dismissed without prejudice. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Caitlin, then Scott.
I reminded him over the period of 2 months.
Paid her $31,000 for her time in her business.
Give me the contract. Give me the contract. Give me the contract.
She wanted a job. That's how she first approached us. She applied for a job with us.
My working for him hourly was never part of the agreement.
I wish I'd been more careful.
I'll stand back in court.
Title, Judy Justice.
Have you been cheated? Go to former landlords, Diana and Donald Back, for an illegal eviction, security deposits, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2085, Schumann versus Back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Schumann,
Yes, Your Honor.
I assume this is your wife?
My girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
And my son, Blake.
And your girlfriend is here just for moral support? She wasn't living with you in the house?
She wasn't living with me, no, but she was
I was the witness. Sit.
a part of it.
Sit down.
Big part of it.
She was not living at the house?
No.
Just you and your son?
Yes.
And you were tenants of Mr. and Mrs. Back for how long?
It was 6 years.
Starting when?
When I signed the lease.
August 2016.
Don't help him. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 8/1/16.
And which unit do you rent? Because they also live in the house.
Yeah, it's 3 floors. I have the middle, and the top is just a little loft. Comes with a little loft.
And did you move in there with your son?
No, in the beginning, no. He wasn't with me.
Was it just you?
It was just me.
And when did he move in?
Probably 2 years later.
2018?
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 15.
Now, in 2016, everything going well with your landlord?
Yeah.
Same landlord?
Yes.
What about 2017?
Everything's good.
Everything's going fine. 18? Must have been going fine because you brought your son in to live with you.
We did have a few incidences that I had to call the police then.
Okay, so in 2018, you had to call the police.
Yes.
When in 2018?
First time Mrs. Back came, and she had a problem with Blake. She said he walked too hard upstairs.
Okay. Now, before Blake came with you, with whom was he living?
With his mother.
How long was he living with his mother?
Since he,
Since he was born?
Yeah, since birth.
And did you visit with him before he came to live with you?
Yeah, I had him every other weekend and Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So something must have happened in 2018 because he's 15 years old, he's in high school. You want to tell me the reason? Angela, I want you to bear in mind, this is my business.
Yeah.
You want to tell me why your son came to live with you? And if you just want to say to me he and his mother weren't getting along, I will accept that.
No, that's not why. She wanted to move to Florida, and she said I could have Blake.
Interesting. Okay, so the first time you started to have trouble was when your son came and Mrs. Back said that he was walking too loud, making too much noise upstairs.
Yeah.
And how did she communicate that with you?
Well, Mr. Back was really the one who had the problem. At night, because Blake would go from his bedroom to the bathroom, and he walked too loud. That was it.
So what did you do?
Well, that was that.
I want to know why you called the police.
Well, why he called the police was because finally, this was the following year when she...
No, just a second. So that was it. In 2018, they told you that your son was walking too heavy.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night going from his room to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay, but that didn't require a call to the police. So I'm waiting.
Well,
this is not a well. You call the police. I want to tell you something. I've been a tenant for most of my life. I've never called the police on a landlord. So this is not an answer that starts with well. When was the first time you called the police regarding Mr. and Mrs. Back? And for what reason?
She illegally entered my apartment. She used her key to come into my house.
Okay. Don't speak. I told you not to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry.
When did she use a key to come into your apartment?
What time of the day?
No,
month. Day and,
month?
I don't remember. I mean, I have the police report.
Oh, I'd like to see it. All that. Well, tell me.
The door was open, Your Honor. Sorry.
What part don't you understand? You want me to just grant his application and say goodbye to you?
I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, I had it. No, I have it, but it...
You have it, but you don't have it.
Well, it...
Okay, so that was sometime, according to you, in 2018/19, she entered your apartment without your permission using a key.
Yes.
And as a result of that, what happened?
Well, the officer came...
It's not a well.
Yep, the officer
So
came.
she came in and you found out that she'd been in your apartment. How did you...
I was upstairs. I was in the apartment and she came in.
Oh, she used her key?
Yeah.
And came in and you were there?
Yes.
Tell me about that incident. So she came in...
She confronted Blake, then I went upstairs.
Just a second. She confronted Blake and you went upstairs. Upstairs from where?
From downstairs. We were coming home. She came running down the block, saw that we were home, and started telling Blake that he walks too loud. You're walking too loud. You're walking too loud.
Just a second. She's in the street.
She was coming. She's coming. She's coming.
You
back.
said you were outside. You were outside. First you told me, if I'm not mistaken, Whitney, he said he was in the apartment when she came in. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. First you told me you were in the apartment. That's not accurate. This happened outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it happened outside and she was yelling at your son that he was walking too loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, not yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay. And now she's outside coming from the beach. She's telling him, you're coming inside, keep going.
Then we went inside. I said, okay.
Just a second.
I said, okay, I'll tell him to walk a little softer, to levitate a little bit. And we went inside and I got onto the phone talking to somebody. I guess she heard me talking and she opened her key and came up the stairs and started yelling. I wasn't yelling at Blake. I wasn't doing this to Blake. I wasn't doing that to Blake.
All right, next. 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 I'll tell you what this case is about so that everybody understands what this case is about. You claim that they illegally evicted you. That's one thing. You claim that they have your security deposit. And what else do you want? You say that there was a simple assault because when yelling at you, one of them spit on you.
It was a lot more than yelling.
I don't care what's yelling. Nobody hit you. That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Caption, coming up.
You panicked
Yes.
because somebody was looking for your father and you knew it was the landlord.
No, I didn't. I thought someone was trying to break, yeah.
Play. Let's get real, okay? Let's stop with the scripted scenario that your father is giving you, because if don't speak.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Daniel, Diana, and Donald.
Daniel Schumann claims his former landlords, Diana and Donald, back over an illegal eviction, security deposits, and an assault. Diana and Donald are countersuing for apartment damage.
Now, illegal eviction, return of security deposit. And you lived there until when?
Until June of this year.
Now, in June, something happened, and that's where your girlfriend has some information, because it was June
3rd.
You are Gina.
Yes.
Perfect. You and Gina were in bed asleep. Does Gina have her own car?
Yes.
Do you have a car?
Yes.
So that's 2 cars.
Yes.
Where are you supposed to park?
Well, we don't have a driveway, so you can park on the street if you want.
Okay, so you weren't parked anywhere near the house?
No, across the street.
Correct?
Yes.
So his cars weren't blocking yours?
Yes, they were.
Where was your car parked?
My car was parked out front behind his disabled spot that he has for himself, and only him.
Just a second.
Behind.
There's a disabled parking spot on a public street?
Yes, but it's only his, for his number only. So no one else can park there, or they get ticketed or and towed.
Even if you're disabled.
Shh.
Yeah, even if you're disabled, you're not allowed.
Did you get a spot assigned to you, sir, assigned to your car because of a disability?
Yes.
What's the nature of the disability?
I had 2 cracked vertebrae in my neck. I dislocated my left shoulder. I have herniated and ruptured discs in my lower back and nerve damage down my left leg.
So you have a place to park?
Yes.
Were you or your girlfriend Gina in any way blocking Mr. and Mrs. Back's car?
No.
Okay. Did you see where they were parked?
Yeah, she was parked on the street in front of the house.
Their car was parked in the street in front of the house?
Yes.
Okay. Go. June 3rd. Where was your car?
So my car was parked behind his disabled spot. My husband came in and showed me a ticket that was on my car, and I couldn't understand because there's no meters or anything. And when I went to look at the ticket, it took me a little time. I checked it. It was for unregistered vehicle. First time in my life I've ever done something like that. I went online right away because I said, I know I did this in April in my mind because I do everything online. Obviously, I never sent it through, and I didn't realize it. Cops in the town have a scanner. They scanned my card, they gave me a ticket. I'm responsible for that. I understand that. But when I spoke to the cop, he said...
Now, don't tell me what the cop said.
I can get a ticket every 12 hours. So I panicked. I said, okay, I'm going to try...
Now I understand what's happened.
But I needed to get my car.
Just a second. So now I understand what happened. She got a ticket parking on the street. And the ticket for parking on the street was for having an unregistered vehicle.
Yes.
Your car was not parked in your designated handicapped spot. Instead, you and Gina were parked in the street.
Yes.
So she came to you to ask you to take your car and put it in your handicapped spot so that she could park in the driveway.
No.
Well,
we just asked for, just needed one of them. Can you see
Just a
look
second.
at this picture?
Just a second.
And then you'll understand what I mean.
You asked one of them to move their car?
I tried to just get in touch with both of them at this point, just get their attention.
You said, Miss Back, no to me very fast. I want you to listen to what I said.
To go, and there's 6 parking spots on this lot. So I didn't need him to go in his spot, is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't matter.
You
need to move
through. He could have stayed there the whole night if he wanted to.
Okay. And what time was this?
My husband walked in about 20 to 9. I started to look it up, thinking that something was wrong. By the time I figured that out, then I knocked on the door.
Just a second. Give me a time that you went to his door to knock at the door.
I started knocking on the door about 9 o'clock, a little bit after, maybe 5 of 9 o'clock. And then I proceeded to text, and I proceeded to call.
Okay. Now, prior to that, Mr. Schumann, prior to that date, at about 9 o'clock, when was the time immediately prior that you called the police about the behavior or a complaint about Mr. and Mrs. Back? Shh. Okay. What don't you understand?
When I called the police, it was probably about 9:45.
No, prior to that night, when she wanted you to move your car. when was the time immediately preceding that you called the police about any conduct of Mr. and Mrs. Back?
Yeah, I don't remember the date.
Give me the month and year.
Oh, wow. It was...
So far we have 2018.
Maybe 2020.
So that was the second time that you've called the police?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You keep saying that. 2020. What was that about?
What that was about was she was downstairs with her friends. They were smoking so much marijuana that we couldn't breathe on the second and third floor. And Mrs. Zanino called her and said, you guys gotta knock it off. You gotta stop. We can't breathe up here. Had to open the windows, had to turn on fans, and I had Blake there.
May I see the police report?
That one I don't have. They wouldn't give it to me. They said...
Just a second. That they said you don't have that police report, but that you called because of smoking marijuana.
Yes.
Okay. And that was the time immediately preceding the call at 9:45 in June of 2022.
Yes.
There were no calls in between.
No.
Is that correct?
One after, but not before.
One after?
2 days later.
2 days after the
altercation. Yeah.
After the altercation. Okay. So now, according to you, you and Gina are in bed, sound asleep at 9 o'clock. Where is your son?
He's downstairs on the second floor. That's where his bedroom is.
Okay. But downstairs, when you want to get in, do you get in from the second floor or the third?
Come in the house, you got to come in from the first floor. And then
walk up a flight of stairs, so you have to pass where your son is. Your son is on the second floor.
Oh, yeah. If I'm going up to the loft, the bedroom door is right there. Yeah.
Okay. What's your son's first name?
Blake.
Blake, stand up. Move over next to your father.
Blake rises.
You're 15 years old?
Yes.
15-year-olds don't go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night. June 3rd, 2022. Where were you?
I was in the bathroom.
You were in the bathroom?
Yes.
All night?
No, not all night.
Well, when were you in the bathroom?
Around 9:30.
When did you hear banging on the door?
It was around that time.
It was around 9:30?
Yes.
What did you do?
Well, I didn't know what was going on.
No, you heard banging at the door?
Yes.
Did somebody say something?
Well.
Not well. Look at me. All you have to do is remember this. Don't speak, Mr. Schumann. Don't speak to him.
No, he's nervous.
Don't speak to him. He won't have to be nervous if he tells the truth. So you see, you just have to cool it. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Caption coming up.
There are people who call the police on you all the time. You're going to get down on the ground, kiss the ground, say, thank God for they're not in my house anymore. Do you understand?
Kind of.
He's happy. What do you mean, kind of?
Well,
what do you mean,
wasn't
kind
ready for the change at the time.
You sound ridiculous.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Daniel, Blake, Diana, and Donald.
Daniel Schumann has accused his former landlords, Diana and Donald Back, of wrongfully evicting him and keeping his security deposit.
You came here. You brought him. Just remember that. You came.
I know.
You brought him. What did you hear when you heard banging at the door?
I heard Don scream, Dan.
You heard Mr. Back?
Yes.
Scream what?
Dan. And.
Dan?
Yes.
And that's your father?
Yes.
How many times did you hear him scream Dan?
Only once.
Once. And are you out of the bathroom?
Well, I did.
Oh, that's not an well.
Sorry.
Are you out of the bathroom? We're still in the bathroom.
I'm still in the bathroom.
Okay, so you're still in the bathroom.
Yes.
Was the door open or closed?
Closed.
Closed. So behind a closed door in the bathroom, you heard Dan from the floor below.
Yes.
Dan. Now, what did you hear after that? It's not an answer. What did you hear after that? Dan. Now, you knew somebody was looking for your father.
Oh, well, I panicked, sort of.
You panicked?
Yes.
Because somebody was looking for your father and you knew it was the landlord?
Yeah.
You knew it was the landlord?
No, I didn't.
You just told me that...
I thought someone was trying to break in.
You mean... Just a second. Blake, let's get real. Okay, let's stop with the scripted scenario that your father is giving you. Because don't speak. Because at 9 o'clock at night, if somebody is banging at the door and calling your father's name, then it doesn't sound like a break-in to me. If somebody's banging at my door and somebody is yelling out, Nana, Nana, I know they're not trying to break into my house.
It wasn't.
Do you understand? Do you understand?
It was the whole house was shaking.
Okay.
The entire
Okay,
house.
Mr. Schumann, I'm not speaking to you. Do you understand? You brought this ridiculous lawsuit. You brought this ridiculous lawsuit.
Truth has to be told. I can't tell.
Just a second.
Because they're lying.
Mr. Schumann,
No, you're lying.
You're lying.
Mr. Schumann, you brought this ridiculous lawsuit, except for one thing. I'm finished with you. Sit down.
Blake sits.
No, I wasn't even the one who called the cops at first.
Just a second.
The neighbor across the street called first because...
Mr. Schumann, you have a police report?
Yeah.
Then I'd like to see where the neighbor across the street called the police.
Yeah, that says it in
Just a second. I'd like to see it.
He also called.
Shh.
Okay.
Yeah, when I called, they said someone else has already called.
Give this back. Give this back. They don't understand not to talk. All right. I'm about finished with you. You moved out?
Yes, I was illegally
Great.
evicted.
Great. It's a great thing that you moved out. It's a great thing that you moved out because you don't want to be with such bad landlords who yell and scream in the middle of the night, who smoke marijuana around your 15-year-old son who would never think of doing that, right? Right?
Yes.
Yes, of course. And so it's a good thing that you found someplace else to go.
It is a good thing.
It's a very, very good thing.
Stress that's off me now.
Perfect. Then it's what we call a mitzvah that you moved out. Okay? The only thing that I'm entertaining on either side is on your side the return of your security deposit. Do you understand?
Yes.
How much was your security deposit?
$17.50.
When you left, did you get any of your security deposit back?
No.
What date did you leave?
It was the last day of June.
So it was June 30th. And you paid June's rent?
Yes.
So now you're going to have to explain to me, Mr. and Mrs. Back, and I think I'm going to go to Mrs. Back, why you kept their security deposit.
Well, Your Honor, he signed a lease when he
Just tell me why you kept their security
because
deposit.
he was asked to give me 60 days notice, written 60 days notice.
Forget it. The people who call the police on you all the time, you're going to get down on the ground, kiss the ground, and say, thank God for they're not in my house anymore. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Kind of.
He's happy. What do you mean, kind of?
Well,
what do you
I
mean,
wasn't
kind
ready for the change at the time. That's why I always ask for 60 days notice.
You sound ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
You sound ridiculous. Do you understand why she sounds ridiculous? You had very, very bad experience with your tenants. Police were called. I don't know. I've lived in places all my life. Police were never called on me as a tenant. I never called police on the landlord. Out there in the near audience, I want to know how many of you ever called the police about your landlord. Raise your hand. I just want some idea. Raise your hand. Don't tell me the truth. Okay, good. Now, how many ever called the police on a tenant? Look at all this. How many times?
Twice.
Great. Landlord or tenant?
On a tenant.
You called about a tenant?
Yes.
About a disruptive tenant?
Yes.
So, with the exception of Kevin, who is a businessman, entrepreneur when he's not here, taking care of my business here, and he called the police twice because of the tenant. Nobody else has ever called the police, so you should say, thank you, Lord, for getting rid of these tenants who called the police and not give me baloney about a 60-day notice. Now, if that's why you kept their security deposit, which is what you said to me, then he gets a security deposit back, $17.50. And that's the only reason you gave me.
It's $17.25. But
Just a second. Finish. $17.25. You did finish. I said, what was the reason? I asked you twice.
Well,
what was the reason? And the second, what was the reason?
I was letting him go from the 17th when he texted my husband to the 17th. The only thing I wanted in return is access. He said, no, see you in court. So I turned around and held him to his lease.
Very good. Not here. Right. Not here. Okay. $17.50. He gets a security deposit back. $17.50 or $17.25?
It's $17.50.
Take a look. Let's get the number right.
The lease.
This is fascinating.
He signed his lease that says $17.25.
Okay. You have information to the contrary, Mr. Schumann.
No, she's right. $17.25.
$17.25. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Counterclaim is dismissed. We're finished. That's it.
Court is adjourned.
Diana, then Daniel.
Judge Judy was right about I should be counting my blessings that they're gone.
It was over a silly parker's butt.
I'm glad he's out, but I don't think he deserves his security.
I mean, I couldn't teach him how to levitate.
Yeah.
As much as I tried, we couldn't get it.
Sarah and Judy.
I'll never understand why acrimonious relationships between landlords and tenants would wish to continue on for another 30 days, another 60 days. Cut your losses and get out of there. And that's what happened. And the defendant's answer that, well, he was supposed to give me 60 days notice. Why would you want him there for another 60 days?
It's called the police on you, as far as we know, at least 3 times.
Yes.
Whatever. It was just a bad scene. And for some reason, he didn't park at his assigned spot because of his handicap. He parked, whatever.
I think everyone should just cut their losses
And move on and be happy. Life is so short.
Yes, agree.
Be happy.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. She is suing salesman Eric West for deceptively selling her skincare products she never wanted.
You know, I'm not sure she's entitled to a refund on all the products that she bought. I'm not thoroughly convinced yet that this was a situation where she was held against her will. But I've always been fascinated by these stores that want me to pop in and they give me a little white plastic thing and they stand outside, try this product. And, you know, you pass by and you say, no, thank you. I'm gonna, no, you're beautiful. You know, this could take away the wrinkles in your face. I say, I make my money with my wrinkles in my face. Right? And I don't want to take them away. I want them to stay. So that's what it is. So I've always been fascinated as to the business aspect of it. And I digress for a moment because there was some scam company that was all over the internet that said I had created a skin line years ago. Couldn't find them. And they had all kinds of accolades, and it looked like it was sold through major companies online and endorsed. They had pictures all over. It was a scam. And they'd done the same thing to numerous other people. And it's all scam. And you can't find them because they're on telephone banks someplace. Here and here, and as soon as the federal authorities get to one, they close down one and they go someplace else, sometimes offshore. So we were unable to find them. So all you could do is get on the horn and say to people, I don't own a skincare line. I've never endorsed a skincare line. Don't buy products that say that they're mine. So I've always wanted to know about these guys who stand in front and try to get you into the store with a little packet of freebies. So now it's your joint business?
Yes.
How much did you put up?
I honestly, I can't recall.
You can't recall how much money you put up? You've only been there 3 years.
I know, I don't remember how much the initial investment was.
Well, give me an idea. Was it $5,000, $500?
A lot more than that.
Well, if it's a lot more than that, you want to tell me how much your contribution was.
$100,000.
It was a couple of $100,000. That was your contribution to the store.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer.
Yes, you're
Where
right.
did you get the $200,000 from?
I worked for it.
For whom?
I worked different jobs.
How old are you?
37.
And you had $200,000. You said a couple of $100,000. That's two. You had $200,000 so that you could invest that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes, and prior, before having a skin business, I had a grocery store on the XL Mobile campus in Spring, Texas.
Okay.
We generated some revenue, and so I thought to open a spa and do products, sell products, and go that route. And I really do pride myself in integrity. I literally, every client that walks in, and I'm not just saying that.
So if you pride yourself in integrity, and within a few days of being in your store and selling this lady who had absolutely no intention of going shopping that day, an $8,000 beauty wand that's going to make her look like she's 30, she says, listen, I made a big mistake. I don't want this product. I want to bring it back. Let's say I keep the creams, but this was $8,000, and I don't have that. Why didn't you take it back?
Your Honor.
That's a question, Mr. West. If you pride yourself on integrity.
I'm explaining. She came back way past the allotted time.
What's the allotted time?
We have a 14-day in-store exchange only for in-store credit policy when you purchase a product. She told me that she was using her husband's credit card. Now I'm coming to find out that it's her roommate or guy that she's living with. I don't know the whole story, but I can tell you that the whole interaction with her was extremely professional. There was no aggression.
I just asked you why. Now you have a lady who I've met, actually.
Yes.
Just here, and she gets home and she said, my God, what did I do? How did I get this? A lot of fast talking here and a lot going on, and now I'm walking out with almost $10,000 worth of product. And I was going to buy a lipstick, and she says to you, I want to return this wand thing, whatever it is, for $8,000. And if what you're saying is you run a reputable business and you're busy and you had enough money to put down $200,000 in this business, by the way, you do file taxes every year, don't you? When was the last time you filed income tax returns? What year?
This year,
How much did you earn?
173,000
From this business?
from different businesses, but yes.
Are you in this location all the time?
Yes, typically in that location, yes.
When you're typically not in that location, where are you?
Florida,
Where?
Miami.
What do you do in Miami?
Well, most people do, sit on the beach.
Well, how often do you work?
Pretty much almost every month, and I take my weekends and I fly and spend 3 days and then work.
In Miami?
Yeah.
You go from California to Miami. Great.
Caption coming up.
And she paid how much for all of that stuff?
Nothing. She only bought one eye cream. That was that was the initial.
Just a second. How much was the eye cream?
It was 600, I believe.
I have never, ever in my life spent $600 on eye cream.
Eric smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Linda and Eric.
Defendant Eric West claims the plaintiff, Linda Bernadeschi, purchased products with a no-refund policy. Linda felt she could not leave unless she bought the items.
So you still haven't answered my question. She comes into you within a relatively short period of time after she purchased all this product. She said, I don't have the money. I have to return this piece of equipment. And you said that
Oh, sorry. I apologize. She said that she found the products cheaper online a week and a half to 2 weeks later. She was upset.
Just a second. Did you call and say you found the products cheaper online?
Yes, but it wasn't 2 weeks later.
How much later?
A week at the most.
How? Which products did you find cheaper?
The wand. I couldn't find the other products at all.
Okay, but you said you found the wand cheaper. Is that what you told him?
Yes.
Now, you looked for the wand. You had to go on, like Sarah does, on the machine.
Right.
And look for it. And now I have to assume, Ms. Bernadeschi, I have to assume that if you went online to look at it, you tried it, because that makes sense. I want you to be very careful with your answer and not give me an answer that you think is going to help your case. But if I took the trouble to go online to try to find something, it would mean because I liked the product. So I would have tried it.
No.
Did you use the wand?
No, I have not. It's still in its original packaging. There's no way it could be opened and sealed back up. There's no way. I looked online because I wanted to see how much I got ripped off for.
Okay. And when you went online, how much did you find it for?
$597, I believe.
The same thing? Can I see what you found for $597?
Kind of.
Do you know what she's talking about?
I know that when you go and you buy a Cartier ring from Cartier, you can get it online for a cheaper price.
Listen to me, sir. Not what I'm talking about.
Okay, sorry. My apologies.
Mr. West.
I see what she's talking about. It's a very similar looking device listed for $575 from a different store. Yeah.
Sarah shows her laptop to Judy.
This is the initial one that I showed you for that amount. That's what the defendant handed us a copy of. This, for this price, is the same. I just copied and pasted the name of the machine into the little, and this came up. So it looks a little bit different, but
okay,
same concept.
Would you go back to the other one, please, Sarah, the first one? And I want you to show me the comments that gave it a 5-star rating. 2 reviews.
Yeah, there.
Just want to look at it.
Looks like one from 2019.
Okay, let me see the next one, please.
And now that I'm reading it, this looks as if it's for a different device. This says electrobionic.
So the review
that's listed here looks to be for a different device.
Different product.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, she found it. Okay. She found it for me.
Sorry.
She found it for me, a different color, whatever. Anyway, so you called him about a week later.
Yes.
You called him about a week later and said, I found it cheaper.
Yes.
And what did he say to you?
He said, well, I can't give you a refund. He said that would have to be up to corporate, so I'll have to get a hold of them and get back with you. Well, he never did.
Taking what you say is true. You called him a week later and said, I found this very expensive product. The other thing were facial creams and potions and lotions, whatever. I'm not so concerned about those. I'm concerned about this $8,000 item. So you called and said to him with regard to the $8,000 item, I found it cheaper.
I don't think I told him that, no.
Okay, now let me read the police report.
Judy reviews a document.
Okay, Have you seen the police report, sir?
No, I have not.
Okay. So this is a police report by an officer who you don't know and doesn't know you. What happened was on the 8th of March, he received a dispatch to go to a location because the plaintiff had complained that she felt on the 21st of February that she couldn't leave the store, and she spent over $9,000 at the store. So he went to see her because the case was a false imprisonment case. And it said, while officer was en route, he asked his dispatch if there was any history involving your location. And it said there were 2 previous incidents involving your store. You're aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And he read the papers of the events. There were 2 different complaints, 2 different complainants that were very similar that were reported by this plaintiff. It said that the other 2 victims were lured into the store and they felt as if they were not able to leave until they purchased products. One of the reports stated that the victim had spent over $100,000 on recurring charges and products that she didn't want. So, in a very small area, there's a little history there. I'm reading you what the complaints are, sir. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me finish.
She continues reading.
Okay, so the next day on February 22nd, you said you wanted a refund for the device. This is what you say, not for the creams, not for anything else, just for the device. Okay.
Your Honor, she didn't pay for the creams. She paid for 1 cream out of all the creams that she got.
Whatever.
Okay.
But that's not where you made your money.
No, I know. It's on the...
That's not where you made your money, is on the lotions and potions. Okay, suspect 2, that was you, told him he was unable to give her a refund and would have to be done by corporate. Were you the one who told her that?
I spoke to her.
That's
No, I
either a
did not
yes
say
or a
that.
no.
No, I did not say that.
Tell me what you said.
I told her that she signed a no refunds agreement, and she understood that she purchased the sale, that it was a final sale because she got what she received.
What did she receive?
She received 6 months worth of services that she did not want, which were complimentary. She also received a full skin regimen, day cream, night cream, cleanser, toner, eye serum, eye cream, peeling gel.
And she paid how much for all of that stuff?
Nothing. She only bought 1 eye cream. That was the initial.
Just a second. How much was the eye cream?
It was $600, I believe.
Caption coming up.
Do you still run that place when you're not sunning in Miami?
No, and those are the only...
Just a second. It takes an awful lot for somebody who feels as if they've been taken advantage of to actually go to the police and say, and I was duped by this dope, or a dope that was duped by this dope.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Linda and Eric.
Defendant Eric West claims the plaintiff, Linda Bernadeschi, purchased products with a no-refund policy. Linda felt she could not leave unless she bought the items.
The eye cream was $600. Okay. All right. Mr. West, I'm not going to waste any more time with this case. You're going to get your $8,000 back when Mr. West gets back his sealed wand. Do you understand?
Yes.
If it's been opened,
Yes.
if it's been opened, it belongs to you. Do you understand?
Yes.
If it's been opened and it came in a sealed package, it belongs to you. As soon as Mr. West receives, you're still in the same location? Are you still in the same location? That's either a yes or a no.
I'm not in the location, no.
What?
There's another operator there, but just for the record, I believe that we opened the device because she wanted to know how to use it at the store.
Just a second.
Okay.
So then you have no problem, sir. Do you understand?
Yes.
Unless she can return the item to you sealed, because she says it's sealed, and there's no way that it could have been opened. That's what she told me. If she opened it, that means she tried it. And if she tried it, it belongs to you. Do you understand?
Yes.
So within 5 days, he gets the product back. What?
I just want to show you this final sale
Just a
agreement
second.
that she wrote.
I understand what it says, sir. I understand what it says. I also understand that your little company had 2 prior complaints from that location. And it takes an awful lot for somebody who feels as if they've been taken advantage of to actually go to the police. Most people just write it off and said, I was being a real schlemiel and I was duped by this dope, or a dope that was duped by this dope. and just say, I'm going to...
Your Honor.
I'm going to eat it. What I'm telling you, sir, is I buy an awful lot of junk for my face. That's what old people do. They buy lotions and potions and stuff. I even steal some of hers. And I have plenty of dough. I have never, ever in my life spent $600 on eye cream. Ever. And so if she spent $600 on eye cream, that means she could have bathed in all the other products and you still would have made money. She is going to get her money back for this worthless piece of accessory, because it's worthless to her because she hasn't used it and she doesn't want it. And she's going to get it back from you when she produces the sealed package. That's it. And you're her witness? Yes. Do you live close by to this shop?
Yes.
Do you still run that place when you're not sunning in Miami?
No, and those are the only...
Just a second. The answer is no. What happened to that business at that location?
There's another operator coming in, and our contract ended recently. So there's another company coming in to run it.
Sounds like such a Ponzi scheme. The whole thing sounds like such a Ponzi scheme.
No, it's called COVID.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $8,000 when she produces the sealed item. Thank you very much. We're done here.
This court is adjourned.
Eric and Linda.
This woman clearly had a bad episode of buyer's remorse, was emotionally unstable, used somebody else's credit cards that claims to be her husband, and God only knows what other kind of schemes she's trying to pull.
Well, I think the judge made a very sound decision because the guy is a total fraud.
She actually took advantage of me and took my time for 3.5, almost 4 hours, asking me, what is this? How does this work? What is this? How does that work? And I literally used all these products that she purchased and got to see results from that she was happy with when she left.
Absolutely manipulated me, went out of his way to manipulate me.
Well, she opened in the store, so if she does return it, she'll have to seal it again with some kind of plastic sealer like they use like for those old VHS tapes when they used to seal them after you watched them from Hollywood Video.
Beware, because there's a lot of frauds out there.
I stand by my products.
The product is intact.
Sarah and Judy.
For once in my life, I am so glad that when I'm walking on the street, and we've encountered these people in our walks just around, like you said, around our neighborhood, for my resting bitch face. Because never once have they looked at me and said, she looks like an easy target for us to pull into the store. Not once.
Would you give me an example of...
Just, I think, living in New York City as a woman alone, taking the subway for 3 years.
I want you to look at me.
No, I can't recreate it. You know it when you see it. You know it when you see it. I'm sure it's on one of our episodes. But I just am so disgusted with people like that know exactly what they're doing. He suns himself in Miami on the weekends, all on the backs of these poor, older people who feel pressured, and maybe they, like she was saying, she lives with someone who's a recluse, who I'm sure she doesn't speak to that many people, and that's the whole scam. And I just feel so terrible that this guy takes pride in his business that is scamming people.
It looks like a little bit of a shady business that he went into for $200,000, and now somebody else took it over.
And not anyone with a last name.
Yeah,
There's
right.
never anyone with a last name involved in these things.
People have to be careful. You know, in the law, caveat emptor, let a buyer beware. That's okay. But this over-aggressive salesmanship reminds me, Sarah, of something that the Legal Aid Society, who were the defense team in family court, would argue in the closing statement in a robbery case to me. They would say to me, it's not a robbery. He was aggressively panhandling. That's what it was. It wasn't a robbery. It was an aggressive panhandle. This is just aggressive salesmanship, is what he's saying. Well, the line crosses between aggressive salesmanship and what amounts to, at least in her case, and the case of at least 2 other people who went into that store feeling that they were uncomfortable about leaving unless they purchased something. You know, you and I are tough birds. We would, you say, well, we're leaving. Oh, really? We're not leaving until we buy... Yeah, right. But some people can't do that. It's not in their character. Anyway, if somebody puts them out of business, another business will just pop up. Because as, I don't know, was it W.C. Fields said, there's a sucker born every minute. I'm not exactly sure who said it, but somebody will tell me.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.com. Tabitha and Brandon Robinson. are suing their customers, Aaron and Sandra Lang, for property damage and loss of income.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case 2152, Robinson versus Lane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Tabitha.
How long have you been in the business of renting party equipment?
We've been in the business about 2.5 years.
And when you started the business by purchasing how many pieces of equipment?
We purchased 3 used units.
3 used?
Yes, obstacle courses. And we rented them out. And then we saved the money and then progressed renting them out and getting more.
Now, the jumper that you rented to the defendants.
Yes, ma'am.
Was one that you bought used or one that you bought new?
I bought it new.
When?
I bought it on 7/19/21. I have the receipt for it.
I'd like to see it, please.
Tabitha hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, and what you rented from them was a 38-foot obstacle course.
We didn't rent from them.
Who did?
Some friends of ours did. They used our property for their daughter's Sweet 16. They paid the Robinsons. They signed the rental agreement. We did not.
Is that correct?
Sandra's actually the one that handed me the cash.
Did somebody sign a rental agreement?
Yes.
Who was it?
It's a lady. Her name is...
Okay, so let me understand that this is... let me frame it. You rented this piece of equipment, which is a 38-foot obstacle course, to someone whose name is... And according to your complaint, it was returned damaged.
Yes.
You say it can't be repaired, although you tried to patch it.
Right.
And you want the cost of a new obstacle course, and while you paid $4,500, you want $9,000.
Well, I have a list of loss of rentals because people...
You're not entitled to that. Okay. More important, I want to know how you think if these people were not signatories to your rental agreement, why would you sue them?
When we went there...
May I see that, please, by the way, while she's telling me the story?
Kevin retrieves a document from Tabitha.
When we went there to drop it off, we did all the... I dealt completely with Sandra. They run a business in their property, which is for parties. She said they do cigar club parties, they do Sweet 16 parties on their property.
Okay, got it. You do this as a business?
So, yes, we run...
The answer is yes.
Yes.
You use your home property. Is it your home property that you use?
Yes.
So you have a large enough piece of property that other people who want to make parties for their children do them at your house.
Yes.
So you took physical custody of this.
No.
Who did?
The renters, the people...
No. It's physical custody, not legal custody. We're not talking about legal custody. You took physical custody and put it on your property.
The people that signed the original rental agreement were on the property at the time that they dropped it off.
I don't care. It was on your property.
Yes, it was on our property.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
So it was on your property, but used by somebody else, and they were just using your property.
Yes.
Is that correct? I had it rented out on Sunday, so when I dropped it off, I told Sandra that we would have to come at 6:30 in the morning to pick it up, to clean it and deliver it the next day. She agreed to that, because normally we don't leave it overnight if it's going out the next day, because we need to sterilize it. When we got there at 7 in the morning, we came in and we were getting ready to pick up the 38-foot obstacle. I noticed that the dogs had chewed, and there are 2 dogs, a boxer and another dog, were still running around and lifting their leg and urinating on the bouncer. We told her, your dog ate our obstacle. There's pieces of the vinyl, which I have pictures of it, where your dog just ate it.
Pictures of our dog chewing it?
Just a second. I don't want to hear you again. I tried to ignore you quietly and figured you'd get the message. You don't shout out here. Go ahead.
My husband said, excuse me, miss, we have a problem. Your dogs have eaten our obstacle. So then she went in to go and get her husband. Her husband came out. He signed papers saying he was responsible for loss of rentals and the damages or replacement of it.
May I see it, please?
Yes. And also he sent text messages to our phone that same morning apologizing and saying he would do everything to replace it, plus the loss of rentals that we were going to lose.
I'd like to see those texts, and I would like to see his signature on a piece of paper, assuming responsibility. Just a second.
Tabitha hands documents to Kevin.
And here's the text messages.
Oh, would you show this to Mr. Lang, please? Did you sign that, sir?
Aaron reviews a document.
Yes.
Okay.
I signed it under distress.
Under distress?
Under distress.
There's no such thing. You mean duress?
Duress. She was...
Just a second. There's a difference between distress...
Duress.
Okay. At 7:29 a.m., you said, I, Aaron Lang, I can acknowledge that a jumper obstacle course has been damaged from a dog. I will take care of the repairs and work with the rental company and its owners to get this resolved ASAP. And then about 15 minutes later, you wrote, I'm so sorry again. Let me know when you drop it off, please. Okay, so you tried to drop it off the next day.
I was trying to drop it off the next day to Albert, a repair guy.
Just a second, just answer my question. It doesn't require a long answer. The next day, you were trying to get it resolved, and you're back and forth with him, let me know, et cetera, and then you don't hear from him.
No.
Then it stopped. Tried calling you, I tried messaging you to get this resolved.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mr. Lang, there's no question. You acknowledge the damage and you agreed to pay for it. That's what you have. Can I have that back?
Kevin brings a document to Judy.
You acknowledged in here that you would take full responsibility for this. What's your defense?
My defense is when they arrived on the property to pick up their jumper that was left unaccounted for over...
No. When they arrived...
So when they arrived and they announced to us that there was damage to their obstacle course.
Well, they came to you first.
Correct.
Is that... Don't speak. They came to you first.
Yes.
You came outside.
Yes.
Okay. And when you came outside, you had a conversation with whom?
I believe Miss Robinson.
With Mrs. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you say to her and what did she say to you?
She just went hysterically, like, upset that the jumper was damaged, and that's when I went inside
Just
and
a
talked to my
second.
husband.
What did she say?
She just started crying, and she...
Started to cry?
Yeah, and she's like, your dog's damaged my obstacle course.
Just a second. So she was crying?
Yes.
And did you have any issue when she said to you, your dog's damaged my obstacle course? Did you see what was bitten off from the obstacle course? That's either a yes or a no. The answer is yes. Okay. What kind of dogs do you have?
A German Shepherd and a Boxer.
And where had you stored this unit overnight?
It was left outside.
In the backyard, in the front yard?
We live on a huge ranch, so it's a 2.5-acre parcel. And it's been known that our neighbor dogs always hop.
I don't want to hear neighbor dogs. I don't want to hear coyotes. I don't want to hear bears.
Whitney grins. Caption, coming up.
My witness, he
Just
is
a second.
repair guide.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new.
And later today.
You have the phone.
I do. To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone. That's a lie.
Just a second.
I literally
Just a second. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tabitha, Brandon, Aaron, and Sandra.
Tabitha and Brandon Robinson claim their customers, Aaron and Sandra Lang, refused to pay the costs of repairs after damaging their jumper house.
Okay, now I'm going to get back to you. So now your wife comes in to get you, and you went outside.
Yes.
And?
I go outside.
Who else is there?
Just my wife and I.
So just the two of you?
Just the two of us were home.
And they were there?
And they were there.
Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
And their daughter.
Okay, and?
I go outside. Miss Robinson is completely hysterical, crying, just out of control in hysterics.
Okay.
Her husband's yelling, screaming,
Now
profanity.
tell me, I want you to tell me exactly, no, I want you to tell me exactly, she's crying, and he starts yelling.
Yes.
Well, you came out and said what to them when you came out? And then I want to hear exactly what was said.
I asked to see the damage, for them to show me what was going on, what had happened. They showed me the damage. We both took pictures. Again,
no, you both took, just a second. So he composed himself long enough to take pictures?
Yes.
And you were composed enough to take pictures?
Yes, I was.
Which you have?
Yes.
And then what happened?
throughout there screaming.
No, I want you to tell me. Now you're taking pictures, and?
Brandon is on the phone with their repair guy of some sort.
Okay, so he's on the phone. He's composed enough to be on the phone. Now, before he got on the phone with his repair guy, did you discuss with him your responsibility to take care of the damage? That's either yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes. So once you said, I'll take care of the damage, he got on the phone with his repair guy.
Before I agreed to take care of the damages, before we discussed that, he was already on the phone.
Okay, and then he got off the phone, but you signed this the same day. So I want to know when in this conversation you signed it. You need something to lean on. Somebody has to give you a piece of paper. Somebody has to get a pen.
I did not fill out that piece of paper.
You don't have
to. Abbott was the one that filled out the piece of paper in their vehicle.
Who did?
Miss Robinson is the one that filled it out in her vehicle.
Okay, so just a second. So she got in her vehicle.
Crying in hysterics.
I don't care. She got in her vehicle, and where was her husband?
Outside loading a bouncer.
So he was outside.
Yes.
She went inside her vehicle, and he was busy.
Yes.
And you live in a house.
Yes.
And you felt pressured.
Yes.
You felt as if you were being extorted.
Bullied, yes.
Did you go inside to call the police?
No, I did not. I should have.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I did not.
You went over to the truck where she was hysterical. She wrote out this document, right?
Yes.
And you signed it.
Yes, I did.
There we go. Make my life very easy. Did your repair guy try to fix the bouncer?
I do have a receipt where we did have it, tried to get it temporary patch where we paid $600 just to make sure we could still rent it out. So that was paid for. This is my repairman. He is my witness. And then also I do have a paper with an estimate of what it would be to repair the obstacle.
May I see it, please? After he did this job, which he did on October 4th, from the 3rd to the 4th, did you rent it out?
No, we tried to, but I have pictures that I brought of what happens when the air flows through. The patches won't stay. You have to go up inside the bouncer and actually put a patch on the inside and the outside, and it would cost more money. My witness he is the repair guy that gets
What you're telling me is that your witness prepared this estimate of what it would cost to repair the jumper.
Yes.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new. Did you prepare this estimate to fix the jumper?
Yes, ma'am. That is the full estimate to repair it properly.
To do it properly?
Yes.
Okay.
The first one was a temporary repair.
Listen, I got it. I'm a fast learner, and anybody who watches this program better learn to think fast too, because I have a lot of things to do today. So you prepare this. So for $2,500, in addition to the $600, did they pay you the $600? So in addition to the $600, so in total $3,100 would fix the jumper.
Correct.
Great. That's what you agreed to pay, sir. You agreed to do the repairs on the jumper. Now, you want a new jumper. You're not going to get a new jumper. You're not going to get damaged for lost income. He's going to fix the jumper. How long is it going to take you?
Roughly about 2 days. 2
days. Piece of cake. $3,100. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I don't owe them anything. I didn't rent the bouncer.
I'm just happy that we're going to have our bouncer repaired.
Because they're money hungry.
They're looking for a payday. The truth always comes out, and what's right is what's right.
Sarah.
So initially, after reading the papers, I thought the plaintiffs, while perfectly matched in their tops, were suing the wrong people, because these people didn't sign the rental agreement. So any damage or any agreement to pay damage, I was with you from the beginning that these are the wrong people. It came out that they had a little bit more involvement, the defendant, than they wanted.
They agreed to pay.
Exactly. He knew he did the wrong thing. He probably saw his dog destroy the jumper from the kitchen window and felt bad and knew that it was his responsibility. I don't think that they deserve $9,000 for a brand new jumper, but they deserve to get it fixed and to keep making money off of it.
Right.
Case 2178, Glad versus Sawbird. All parties, please come forward.
Serenity Glad is suing her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sawbird, for unpaid loans.
Ms. Glad, if my memory is correct, you are suing the defendant for a series of small loans that you claim she owes you for, and those loans were created, according to you, during a period of time that you and the defendant were either involved in a relationship and or engaged.
Yes.
How long do you know each other?
We've known each other since May of 2021.
And there came a time when the defendant came to live with you, or you went to live with the defendant?
I moved to Colorado to live with her.
And when was that?
That was in May of 2022.
When you moved in with her to Colorado, were you working?
Not at the time, no.
What kind of work did you do in Colorado?
I was unemployed.
How'd you support yourself?
A friend of the family helped me out due to my disabilities.
Who pays your rent?
The friend of the family.
Do you own a car?
I did.
Do you now?
No.
Are you working now?
Not at the moment, no.
Prior to that?
I was out in Colorado.
Working?
Yes.
For whom?
It was a local coffee shop.
Okay. Now you're living together, you are a couple. At some point you became engaged, and then something happened. What happened is probably irrelevant. What I want you to tell me is, from the point that you moved in, what loans do you claim you made to her?
I had paid part of a vet bill.
When was that?
That was at the end of May. I have the invoices here.
And what makes that a loan?
Because at the time she didn't have money and she had agreed to pay me back when she had gotten a job.
Did you agree to pay her back for this vet bill when you got a job?
No, ma'am. The friend of the family was going to pay for it all, but she insisted on paying it.
Tell me about that.
So in the vet office, I was messaging the friend of the family, and he was willing to pay it in full. And she was like, no, I'm gonna pay for it. You need to quit asking him for money. I was like, he is the person that supports me right now. We do not have the money, so he's going to help us. She said that she would pay for half of it, I believe it was.
For half?
For half.
Okay.
So it was like $100.
How much was it?
$170.
Let's keep moving on.
Caption coming up.
I've been paying my dad on my phone and she keeps turning it off.
Just a second. I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses? Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway.
Whitney smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Serenity and Jennifer.
Serenity Glad claims her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sauber, refuses to pay back loans given to her during their engagement.
Now, what other loans do you think she owes you for?
I had bought her tires for her car.
When?
That was on June 17th, I believe.
Were you using the car?
I was using the car.
Okay. For how long were you using the car?
About 2 months.
And what were you using the car for?
Getting to work.
So at that point, it was as much your vehicle as it was hers, because she wasn't working. So you took the car to work?
Yes.
And the car needed tires?
Yes.
And?
So I ended up paying for them just for safety reasons, given that...
Well, it's your safety. You were driving it.
That's true. Yes.
Let's move on. Next loan.
On top of that, I had to pay for vet insurance for her dog.
She didn't have to.
Just a second.
Sorry.
And then even after I had left Colorado, she asked me to leave her dog on the plan and just pay me.
You have your own animals?
No.
No. So after you left Colorado, you were no longer a couple, did you request that she continue to pay for the vet insurance? That's either a yes or a no.
I don't remember.
Well, she says you did. How many months did you pay after you left Colorado? Show me. After you left her, you were no longer a couple. How many months did you pay?
I had ended up paying...
Just the months?
2 months.
And how much were those 2 months?
$71.46.
What's next?
After that, the biggest one is the phone that she has.
Tell me, when you got the phone, when she got a new phone, because I assume she had a phone, is that right?
I actually had just bought a brand new phone, and I insisted that I didn't need a new one.
What kind of phone did you buy?
iPhone 11 mini.
And?
I got the phone, and I have a hard time seeing, and I didn't have glasses, and I was like, it would be nice to have a larger phone. We actually originally went to get us on the same plan. I was going to keep my same phone, but I was looking at the phone. She was like, well, let's both just get new phones. I was like, that's not a good idea. She was like, well, let's just get them. It's fine. So I traded in my old phone for about $400, and we got the phone, and the agreement was, since I traded in my old phone, I still had to pay off the old phone because I just got it. So the agreement was I pay off my old phone, and to keep the service on, I would pay for my service and my data, and she would pay off the phone itself. that was our original agreement. And then a few weeks later, she's like, I never said that.
Okay. How much did you end up paying for her phone?
As of currently, there is $575 paid on her phone.
Do you still have that phone?
I do.
Can I see that there's $575 left on her phone? Not because you got two when you got new phones. So just hers.
I have this.
Is that for one phone?
That is
or
just
two?
for one phone, yes.
Serenity hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, would you show this to the defendant, Kevin, please? And you have the phone?
I do.
And you're not paying for it?
I'm paying for the service, for what we
Service,
agreed
I'm
on.
not talking about service. That receipt is for one phone.
Yes.
It says your phone was a little over $1,000.
Yes.
What was put down on the phone was almost $400. There was some payments made, and what's still owing on the phone is $514. That's what it says.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And you have the phone?
I do.
Great. So $71.46 and $514 is $585. Anything else?
To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie.
Just a second.
I literally
Just a second. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan. She'll go in, she'll get her own plan. Right now, what's due and owing on the phone is $514. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been paying my data on my phone, and she keeps turning it off.
Just a second. I suggest you get a new plan. You have your phone, get another
I've been trying to, but she keeps...
I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses?
Genius boy.
Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway. Okay, $71.46 and $514. My math is almost correct. It's $585.46. That's what she owes you.
$400 of that is from my old phone.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's what she owes. That's what she owes on it. Done.
This court is adjourned.
I'm okay with it.
I do think it was a very fair hearing.
I'm okay with it because I, just want things.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी। ये है शाहतूत। ये शाहतूत है, अभी बन रहा है, ठीक है। ये कुछ दिनों में फल इसको लग जाएंगे, ये फलना शुरू हो जाएगा। समझ आइए आप लोगों को। ये देखें, इसको चेक करें। ये देखें, अभी शाहतूत का मौसम है। यह है गंदम, ये जो है ना वसल है, प्याज, ठीक है जी। तो ये सब्जियां वगैरह छोटी मोटी हमने उगाई होती हैं, ठीक है। ये सरे में सरसों का तेल हम निकालते हैं। तो ये जो गंदम है ना, ये हमारे चाचू होने की है। तो ये जो है ना, ये हमारी है। ये है थूम भी हमने उगाया हुआ है, ये इसका बीज बनाएंगे, ठीक है। तो पिनियाल भी है, पिनियाल, ठीक है। ये देखें, शमदान, जिसको हम शमदान कहते हैं। तो मैं अभी जा तो रहा हूँ, लेकिन हमारे पैर पहुँच जाएंगे, ठीक है। ये देखें हमारी गंदम, माशाल्लाह बहुत ही खूबसूरत है, ज़बरदस्त है। यार एक सीन बन गया है मेरे साथ, तो मुझे हुआ नज़ला ज़ुकाम, ठीक है। तो मैं वो 3 दिन, हमारे सराकी में कहते हैं कि 3 दिन अगर कुछ भी ना खाओ, गोलियां वगैरह, तो आप खुद ब खुद ख़त्म हो जाता है। तो मैंने क्या किया, उसकी गोलियां ले ली, ठीक है। गोलियां मैंने खा ली, तो 2 दिन मैंने गोलियां खाई। तो वो नज़ला जैसे ही पका, तो सारा नज़ला सिर में जमा हो गया, पक के खंघार बन के, ठीक है। तो फिर क्या हुआ, फिर आज मेरी इतना तबीयत ख़राब हुई, जो सिर में पूरा एक पासे में दर्द हो गया, अभी तक भी है, दर्द है। सोच रहा हूँ कि क्या करना चाहिए मुझे, क्या करूँ, ठीक है। कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा यार, बिल्कुल समझ नहीं आ रहा। यकीन करें, एक पासे के अंदर पूरा दर्द है, तो वो खंघार जो है ना फैले हुए हैं। अब कोई बता सकता है मुझे कि क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, ठीक है। कुछ समझ नहीं आ रही यार, क्या करूँ। यकीन करो, तबीयत ख़राब हो रही है। माह रमज़ान है, आज मैंने रोज़ा भी छोड़ दिया, नहीं रखा, क्योंकि मैंने कहा डॉक्टर के पास जाऊंगा तो फिर ख़त्म हो जाएगा। ये देखें माहौल, ये है माहौल भाई। हाँ, यही मसला है यार, तबीयत को चस नहीं है, तबीयत बिल्कुल ख़राब हो चुकी है। अब क्या करें, कुछ रूह ही नहीं देता। खंघार इतना हो चुके हैं अंदरों में, आप लोगों को क्या बताऊं, यकीन करें भाई। तो ये बात है भाई। तबीयत अभी जा रहा हूँ, सलवात रखवाता हूँ भाई से, देखते हैं कोई दर्द कम होता है कि नहीं, होता है तो ठीक है, नहीं होता तो फिर डॉक्टर के पास जाएंगे ना। समझ आ गई होगी आप लोगों को। ओए होए होए, गंदा दर्द है यार, यकीन करें। ये देखें, ये हमारी गंदों में बहुत अच्छी है। हम तेरे शाह, ये हमारे सोतरों की है, ये हमारी है। अब फ़र्क आप लोग देख सकते हैं, ये हमारी कसी है, यहाँ से हम पानी लगाते हैं। ओए क्या करना पोसी यार, दसाओ यार दसाओ, कोई तो इंजा बंदा हो जरा साड़ी वीडियो देता पे हो, डॉक्टर होवे, कोई मसला मसाइल है तो दसो। रोज़े इवें रखी पे हो या रोज़े इवें रखी पे हो, रखेंदे पे हो या माल इवें चिक्की पे हो है, कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो सी है यार। आ दिन जो ये शमदान दे विच ना, ठीक है, जिवें शमदान सही पिए ਤਾਂ बिल्ली पेरू ने गाटू रोते इंदा शुगर वास्ते या सेहत वास्ते बेहतरीन निज़ाम बनवे दे बिल्ली, लेकिन सब तो सही लगते थे ये शमदाने जरी ना। ये ओए होए 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 होए, इतना पैर ठंडा थी कि मैं तो क्या दसा। आदन फायदा थी ने पता कहीं नहीं यार, फायदा थी भी सकते नहीं भी थी सकता। रड़ा पचेड़ बुखार गंदा कितनी खड़े यार, यकीन करो। क्या करो इतना क्या पे ये टोटा मुंडा पे था कुत्ता हो सी ना, मुराद सारी कणक दाप सटेंदन। संगत ये हाल तुसा समझो जीवे, मेरा सिर दर्द में कोदे पिटवाई, ठीक है, वरना मैं बंदा था ठीक। हम मुहब्बत दे रोगे सदा वस दे दिल वलानिया दा दिल नहीं हो आदा सजन दिल को तेरी अदा याद आ गई। ये चेक करें, ये चेक करें, एक चीज़ दिखाता हूँ। ये देखें हमारी बूटी, इसको हमने यहाँ पे ना रहाया था, ठीक है, तो ये अब ना कुछ दिनों के अंदर ये यहाँ से जहर हो जाएगी, इस कंधी से जहर हो जाएगी, ठीक है, तो माहौल सोना नजरेगा। ये देखें हमारे धेरे का माहौल सारा निज़ाम दरहम बरहम हुआ पड़ा है, ठीक है ना, तो टेंशन नहीं लेनी, तो ये ठीक हो जाएगा। मैं अंदर उजल के तो आपको दिखाता हूँ, ठीक है, थोड़ा चीज़ें भी हमने रहाई हुई हैं तो वो बेहतरीन होगा निज़ाम। ये पूछती है, ये भी मैंने रहाई थी कि फल बूटियाँ साथ चंगी लगती हैं, इस वजह से मैंने रहाई थी। बाकी अगूते देखते हैं, अंदर उजल के देखता हूँ। मैं अंदर आ चुका हूँ। ये देखें, सबसे पहले ये क्या चीज़ है, कोई बंदा बता सकता है? ठीक है, ये क्या चीज़ है? ये भाई है गुलाब का फूल, ठीक है। ये अब 2 दिन हो गए हैं, ये बहुत ही ऊपर जा रही है, ये फल रही है, ठीक है। तो ये फूल वगैरह भी चाहती है, हमने यहाँ से खुशबू सींगी थी, ठीक है। इस साइड पे ये दरवाज़ा है, दरवाजे के साइड पे ये हमने रहा दी। उसके बाद भाई क्या है, ये अमरूद का बच्चा है, अमरूद। मैंने कहा यार यहाँ पे स्टूडियो पे ना तो थोड़ा सा ये खाने पीने की चीज़ें भी होनी चाहिए। ये अभी जवान नहीं हो रहा, इसको पता नहीं क्या है। दूसरा है हमारा नींबू, नींबू का बूटा, ठीक है, ये नींबू है। इसको भी मैंने रहाया था कि नींबू होना चाहिए यार, नींबू बड़ी काम की चीज़ होती है, ठीक है। तो ये इसलिए हमने रहाया है। बाकी जो हमारा सिस्टम चल रहा है ना स्टूडियो का, तो ये प्लेटें वगैरह हैं इसके ऊपर चल रहा है, ठीक है। आगे मैंने क्या रखाई है, आगे मैंने रखाई है, ये देखें, ये है माल्टा। ये भी माशाल्लाह बहुत बड़ा हो चुका है, कंधी को निपेट चुका है, ठीक है। ये माल्टे का दरख्त है, तो ये माशाल्लाह खूबसूरत हो जाएगा, ठीक है। लग तो बेहतरीन रहा है यार कसम से, लेकिन ये फल रहा है बहुत ही ऊपर जल्दी जा रहा है। दूसरी ये है गुलाब के साथ साथ चमेली, चिट्टे फूलों वाली, ठीक है। ये बूटी है, तो ये भी बड़ी बेहतरीन है, इसमें खुशबू चंगी होती है। ये जो चीज़ है ना भैया, ठीक है, ये अभी फुट रहे हैं क्योंकि ये कंधी को निबेड़ चुका है। मैंने ये कोई और चीज़ लेके आई थी, ठीक है, लेकिन ये निकली कोई और चीज़ है। मुझे समझ नहीं आती इसका नाम क्या है, अगर किसी को पता है तो ये बता सकता है। ये देखें, ठीक है भैया। अब ये देखें, अब यहाँ फर्श जो है ना ये हम लगाएंगे। ये कभी भी बैठे हुए, ये हमारा वॉशरूम है, ये दरहम पर हम माहौल हुआ पड़ा है, इसको इग्नोर करना, ठीक है। तो हमारा स्टूडियो यहाँ पे, स्टूडियो में अभी पंखा भी लगवाना है। पंखा जो हमारा ये पड़ा हुआ है, ये हमने ख़त्म कर दिया था भैया, ठीक है। हम बंदे अच्छे हैं ना, इस वजह से हमने ख़त्म कर दिया था भैया। तो ये हमारा स्टूडियो है, स्टूडियो, ठीक है। तो अभी आपको नहीं दिखा था। हो, मेरे सर में बहुत दर्द है यार, क्या करूं। यकीन करो वीडियो थोड़ी देर तक बनाऊंगा, ठीक है यार। मेरा सर में दर्द बहुत बढ़ रहा है। सलवात रखवा लूँ, ठीक है। मैं पहले वॉशरूम से हो लूँ, फिर इंशाल्लाह सलवात रखवाता हूँ, ठीक है। तो ओके, सलवात पहले वॉशरूम से होके सलवात रखवाता हूँ, फिर ना वीडियो बनाता हूँ, ठीक है। आप लोग थोड़ा सा सब्र करें। अच्छा जी संगत, मैं आ चुका, मैं सलवात रखवाइए, ठीक है। ते देखो सिरे दर्द ख़त्म थी वे या ना थी वे, अल्लाह खड़ा जान दे मेरा सोना, ठीक है। तो ये सारी मस्जिद है, रात दा इत्थे तरावी पढ़दे हैं असां। जी हाँ मेरे सोने, तबीयत बेचैन नहीं पी यार, बच्चन दे पिंड पानी वादा, कोई समझ नहीं लगती क्या करूं, क्या करना चाहिए। यकीन करो समझ बिल्कुल नहीं आती पे। यह मस्जिद है, ठीक है। ना लोग कम करने पैन, अपना शर्म के पीने पैन। ये मेरे को अद्धे रीते जुसांदा हुआ खिजरते को नजला जुकाम था ना, फंसे खड़न खंगार कहवे जी सरी बनवाते ए पी ते खोल वैसी सिस्टम देखो, सिस्टम खुल दे कि में घर वेना पे यार, तबीयत बेचा से यकीन करो पूछो ना हाल। वन ते खंदा ब्या क्या, अल्लाह खैर करे। सी ये कोठी ढठी पई है यार, फ्लड दे दौर ढठी है, ठीक है। ये श्रम नाल कपी पई है मेरा सोना, ए है हाल है। मैं ए वेंदा पिया मैं, ठीक है। ये साडा घर है परों, हाय 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 हाय, क्या करूं मेरे सोने, क्या करूं मेरे सोने, समझ नहीं पिया आउंदी, यकीन करो। तबीयत ना को सुवण दी वजह तो ना समझ नहीं आंदी पई जो करूं क्या। इत्था कर बरसीन है वैसे पर रुकना के वैसे, ठीक है मेरा सोना, ये हाल है। हाँ ओए अल्लाह, ये बीघा पहले उजाड़ किता आने वाला रहा तेने, ये पता नहीं क्या राधी पर मेरे को नहीं समझ आंदी। मैं ही सगो तो कोई रोड दिखे ना होता यार, सारा शक्ल बी तरह की सही वधी है क्योंकि नज़ला जुकाम की वजह तो ना, ठीक है। तो लिया ते थों कर नाखो से जम्मू दा दरख्त है कर खड़े खाते हुए, ये जम्मू में हूँ अखियां दर्द है, यकीन करो। ये मुंड पे था बेचा ते बरसीन में मेरा सोना बरसीन, ये ना जरा सारा भूं दा पल्ला, ये कभू है वे ठीक है हुण थी ख़त्म के नवी कणक लाए तो ठीक थी सी ये थप्पी पन बूहे ठीक है अगर काठा साड़िया नहीं हुई तो बूहे बाल गिंदो असा ते पुश्ती साड़ी थी छोटी वधिया है सैलाब शलाब वास्ते ये नाल 50 ना रख पैसे को आखा उथा ओ छोटा जहा बाग खड़े वे ते ये साड़ी चौंड दे टाली खड़ी है हाँ पर नाला साड़ा है मेरा कोठा है हाय अल्लाह दर्द औखा है सजनों दर्द औखा है यकीन करो दर्द औखा है हुण मेरा काम खराब है मैं वन ते चिटके ते सुनदा ठीक है कलंदर घ्यू करे सी मेरा सुना मैं कुत्ते को लेके छत चढ़े हुए नाम मुराद ये आ गई आ तक मैं देखा आ तो सही तौर पे कुत्ता कुत्ता ना होता दल्ला ना होता कुत्ता ये क्या है हाल है कुत्ता ही वल्ला गए थे मैं ही ना पे वैसे जनो ये हाल है हाँ ओए होए होए सजनो तबीयत ना कुछ थी वधिया यकीन करो बस हम मैं वन ते सुनदा पे वे ठीक है कलंदर घ्यू करे सी आपे ते जरा आराम करना जुसाना ही पीना ठीक है जुसाना पीवन तो बाद नाल वाट का प्लेसा सेज देखो किए लगदे वीडियो विच सेज कमाल लगदे वे सुना ये देखो ये टाली है ये साडा बनना ये हद है ठीक है ये पासा चौधरियों दा ये पासा साडा है किमें पे लगदे बेहतरीन माहौल कलंदर घ्यू करे सी ये कंडिया पेंटिया सारे ते हुण देखो मैं ना हुण पे आवे ना घर ठीक है बस 10-15 सेकंड इन उत्ते भी पे थी सारा ठीक है संजणों वाला मिलते हैं अल्लाह हाफिज बाय बाय टाटा
Ito lang